is brought to you by Amiga.
The first to 7 race wins will hold the old mug aloft. Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender, get first points in the opening race of the match.
I believe the fastest boat will win the America's Cup.
Emirates Team New Zealand being left in the wake of Luna Rossa.
What we've got is a really close yacht race. It's definitely shaping up to be a pretty interesting series.
Finally, one team has a clean advantage. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli have a mountain to climb to stay in the match. All Emirates Team New Zealand need is one more race win, and they win the 36th edition of the America's Cup.
Well, the plan doesn't really change for us. You know, we're just continuing to improve the boat and improve the way we sail it.
Defender, Emirates Team New Zealand, 6 wins. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, 3.
The scoreline doesn't lie. These guys won the only race of the day.
We're going to see what the Italians are made out of now.
We live to see another day, and we're looking forward to getting out there.
They certainly threw everything at us.
Jimmy Spithill at his best with just a really aggressive match racing move.
We threw everything at them as well, and really at the end of the day, it could have gone either way.
Emirates Team New Zealand are one step closer to winning the America's Cup.
There'll be no towel to throw in.
It's 6-3.
The gloves will come off, we'll come out swinging.
We all know the story of Jimmy Spithill and how he came back in San Francisco.
A very wise man and a good friend of mine said once, imagine what a story would be if they lose from here.
Passion is a powerful motivator, and as Team New Zealand know, the comeback is always on.
There's quite a lot of us at Emirates Team New Zealand that have been 1 point away from winning the America's Cup previously, so we've seen the movie before, and it's never over till it's over.
Tēnā koutou katoa, welcome to Aotearoa, New Zealand. Welcome to Day 7 of the 2021 America's Cup match on the waters of the Waitemata Harbour. Yesterday, both teams produced the race of the match so far. The defender got a break and pounced, going on to win and put themselves one race away from lifting the old mug. For Luna Rossa, the equation is now simple. They cannot lose a race. The reason for that, the defender only needs one more win, and this 36th edition of the Cup is over. 6-3 is the count in favour of Emirates Team New Zealand. Now, if we get 2 races today on Course A, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli will have port entry on both occasions, as race 10 is a hangover from yesterday's schedule. Luna Rossa were always going to have port in race 11 today. Your commentary team is good to go. Shirley Robertson, double Olympic gold medalist on Chase Boat 1. Ineos Team UK grinder Freddie Carr in Heli 1. Beside me, 2 America's Cup helmsmen, Nathan Outeridge and President of North Sails, Ken Reid. And Kenny, Luna Rossa are up against it.
Well, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli has to sail perfect. We see a boat that's consistently being put into positions that are really difficult to hold, but for them, absolutely necessary if they want to win. Everyone keeps calling it elbows out or get ahead and cover. But for the last 4 races, their elbows haven't been wide enough. Lighter breeze seems to fit them better, though, so today's weather may come to the Italians' aid. Bottom line, Bruni, Sabello, Spithill, and company need to be darn close to perfect to keep this series alive.
And Emirates Team New Zealand are in the box seat to defend the America's Cup. After yesterday's race win, they currently sit on match point. And I'm sure, like all Kiwis around the country, they just want this race to be over so they can get the party started. The intense meetings and stares by the likes of Grant Dalton have disappeared and have been replaced by plenty of waving and smiles to the local fans. But those smiles switch back to intense focus once they get to the race course to try and close out this America's Cup.
And the intensity ramped up after yesterday's race.
It was an incredible race, really one of the better races we've ever seen in America's Cup history, according to many. Tight, tight, tight. The Italians kept it close. They kept actually making these incredibly tight situations stick. And Nathan, they just couldn't hold on through the whole race. It was actually an incredible race. They threw everything at them, tight crosses, but eventually all good things come to an end.
Well, it was this critical moment here where Rossa decided to tack on Emirates Team New Zealand. They wanted to protect the left-hand side at the top of the course. That gave an opportunity for Emirates Team New Zealand to go to the right-hand boundary. They picked up a shift, took the lead. 150-metre lead here. They never looked back from that moment. Race win to Emirates Team New Zealand, match point.
And once you give this boat a tiny little lead, my goodness, do they know how to stretch.
A little high mode here.
Yeah. Pressure in 3.
Yeah. A piece on the left mark for us. Yeah, let's get a piece on us. Let's get a piece on us.
This team has one job: win.
Italy has now made it to the match 3 separate times. 1992, 2000, and 2021, still desperately searching for their first win. What will it take? An improbable turnaround for a team who does have 3 race wins, but has not put 2 together in a row. Left with a daunting task of having to win 4 in a row. The good news for the Italians, they're on familiar course in wind conditions where they've had plenty of success both in the trials and the match itself.
I'm so proud of this team. I'm so happy to be here, and I actually bumped into Grant Dalton this morning on the bike at work, and he did say to me, you guys are warriors. And I know, I feel like a warrior. I know we're going to war. It's a different war, but it's our war here for the America's Cup, and I feel we're just going to go out there and give it all we have.
The men in black could seal the deal today.
Emirates Team New Zealand are exactly where they want to be. Match point in the 36th America's Cup. They've been working hard for this moment since Bermuda, and now the moment has arrived. The question is, can they close out this series today? It's been no secret that this boat has got wheels, but Peter Burling has been struggling to get off the line. So he's been relying on the boat speed to win races. I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you win, but I know for a fact these guys would love to win the final race of the America's Cup from start to finish.
Yeah, you know, the whole team of 100 plus people, you know, they've done an amazing effort over the last 4 years, and we're really just looking forward to getting out there today with this massive home crowd behind us, just looking out there, looking forward to doing the same thing we've done the last few days and just getting stuck into a good race.
Today, hopefully with a cooperating breeze, we are back on the Hauraki Gulf in Course A. A light northeasterly sea breeze is forecast for the afternoon, with the west coast and east coast breezes battling it out for dominance. Maybe just a short postponement, followed by a 2-minute start sequence and a 3-lap windward leeward course with approximately 1.8-mile legs, finishing downwind. And with a full view of the course and the obstacles it presents right now, a return by popular demand up in Heli 1 Ineos grinder Freddie Carr. Welcome back, Freddie.
Thanks for having me back, Kenny. We've taken Heli 1 to new heights here because right now it's about the big picture. What's winning out of that northeasterly, southwesterly sea breeze? And the good news is for us is that northeasterly is coming down the race course. At the top of the course, we've got 8s. At the bottom of the course, we've got 5s. And there's good breeze building up on the right-hand side of the course as it compresses against Rangitoto.
Freddie Carr up in Heli 1. Let's go to Chase Boat 1 and Shirley Robertson. Different sort of feel today, Shirley.
You can sense it's a big occasion. The racetrack, I mean, just look at it. It is surrounded by expectant Kiwi fans holding their breath. Here to witness not just world-class sport, but a real moment of national importance, history. The teams too seem a little different. I mean, the Kiwi fortress cracked open a little as they slid off the dock to the national anthem, belief perhaps that they have one hand on the prize. And for the Italians, Oh, today seems full of emotion. A tight team of legionnaires who won't go down without a fight, but knowing one mistake and the Kiwis are going to pounce. And the dreams, not only of the team, but of the nation, will fade away. Stephen, it's a big day.
Race 10 of the 2021 America's Cup match. On port entry, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, and on starboard, it will be Emirates Team New Zealand. And okay, look at that. That is what awaits the winner today if we get one. You can hear it from where we are sitting at the America's Cup Village.
Does anybody go to work in New Zealand?
They don't need to, and nor should they. The only thing we're missing is a Mexican wave. That's all we need, is a Mexican wave to get this party started. But we've still got to go racing. But that tells you what's happening in New Zealand right now. That's a little more sedate. But then we go out onto the course, and it really does look spectacular. But and we didn't forget, happy St. Patrick's Day here in this part of the world. And that is Sir Jim Ratcliffe's boat, the Mr. Ineos Team UK. Not a bad little tub to get around the track in, is it? And look at that. It's you know, when you hear what Shirley said, Nathan, there is a funny feeling about today if we get a race.
There's a lot of expectation on today, isn't there? Look at all the fans, not just out on the water right now, but also back on land. And we've just been told the race has been postponed. The breeze is a little bit too light. It's shifted around to the left, as Freddie Carr had said. They're going to have to realign this race course, and we'll fill a little bit until racing begins.
Yes, now we are told that the first potential start time, as they always do so beautifully, will be at 4:30 4:30 local time in New Zealand. So wherever you are around the world, just change your clocks and get ready. Francesco Bruni on the leeward side of the Luna Rossa Pirelli, of course. We've got Jimmy Spittle on the other side. What are you feeling right now? I'm sort of rolling on this occasion sense from Shirley Robertson.
I'm anxious for the Italians to maybe put up a pretty good fight here today, because this, as we said in the top of the program, this is a race course that they have had a lot of success on. This is a breeze strength they've had a lot of success with, even against the Kiwis. So I think they're kind of confident on a day like today.
That tells us plenty, doesn't it, Nathan? Shifting the boys to realign the course to match the wind.
Yeah, they're definitely moving this race course around right now. You can see that the course axis, that wind angle you see across the course, is not in line with the boundaries we've got set up there. So they'll be moving potentially the top marks over to the right-hand side, bottom marks over to the left-hand side of the screen, trying to get it in line. You look around the racecourse area, the wind has been unstable all day. It's been very glassy, and this is the first time we've seen a hint of breeze starting to line up.
There was certain murmurings even before we came to air today that we might not get any race meets. Suddenly, Mother Nature has started to play ball. We had a stunning race yesterday, and it was race number 9. Guys, why don't we dive straight into that, take a good look at race number 9 yesterday, which was, well, it was a memorable one.
Well, I've heard from many people this is one of the best America's Cup races they'd ever seen. And you know what? The contrast after the day before, Nathan, where boats were splashing down and couldn't get out of the water, this is what we needed. We all needed this jolt, this boost of energy, because this was a classic.
Yeah, this one had plenty of action, a few lead changes, and course C, very shifty. Let's just hear the chat on board to the start. Normally we talk over them a bit. Let's just listen to them come through the line.
Holding that lead. High. Pressing. You happy to take off? Yep. Easy. Going to be second. Huge. You boys very away.
Follow it.
All right, hit. All the way. He's through, but like, come on, do it. That's right.
And at the start, there's always that gap, Nathan, that we're talking about a third of a line between the two boats. But this just started a half an hour of calling really one of the tighter contests we've ever imagined. The Italians kept making these really dicey spots stick, and they could have easily got brushed off here, but they held all the way to the boundary, and after this tack, started a long port tack that, my goodness, it was give or take an inch. It was really spectacular sailing and incredible concentration by Bruni and Spithill to make this work, and actually by the end of this whole sequence to actually come out ahead.
Very impressive, two boats tacking side by side there. And again, nothing in the boat speeds, nothing in the distance. And it's the long port tack where Luna Rossa just hold their nerve, maybe a little right-hand shift as they come across here. And they just are patient. They just wait. And their whole goal along here was to force Team New Zealand to tack. And there they go. They eventually tack. And you'd say that's round one to Luna Rossa.
Round one of about 20 rounds to go here between the two boats. This actually got them out to a small lead by this first gate. As we approach the gate, we're actually going to listen on board again because it was really spectacular. Because it wasn't as easy. This wasn't a cut and dry starboard tack between with Luna Rossa on starboard. This actually got a little dicey for Luna Rossa at the last second.
We have a piece on the left mark on us.
Go. Yeah. This could be a tack set.
Yeah, he's got a piece on us. He's got a piece on us.
5. Good angle. 3. 2. Good angle.
Coming up. Okay, good. Sorry. Eyes on the mark.
Fire away.
Very away.
Pressure.
Yeah. And yours.
So Francesco Bruni there, Nathan, was actually calling for a potential tack. Remember, the boat coming from the top of the screen, if they got in that top circle first, the starboard tack boat would have had to have given way.
So what they were nervous about is that happening, so they were preparing to tack, and then at the last minute, Francesco Bruni was to leeward, just said, no, keep going, it's not a problem here, and then we had this big split down the race course. And as you can see here, the speeds are quite different between the two boats. If we look here, VMG speed's quite different here. 8 knots different VMG speed. I know Luna Rossa have probably just come into their jibe, but the left-hand side of the screen where Team New Zealand are now seem to have more wind all day, and this was shaping up to be a lead change coming up here.
Sure enough, round two, probably at the top gate, went to the Italians as well. Round three here went to the Kiwis. They come out of this favored side of the race course, and Luna Rossa actually has to do a little dip here. They come up and actually do a really nice dip. I was asking Nathan, who's dealt with boats going this fast, how hard is it to be a boat length apart going 45 knots? And your answer?
Not very easy. To go within 40 meters of another boat doing 45 knots, you need some very good judgment there. And this is how it played out. As we go down, when looking at the graphics, you can see that tight cross there. And as they come back together, Luna Rossa now take the advantage with starboard tack and setting up for a tight bottom mark rounding.
This is why we like course C, because it's so shifty. So when the wind actually works, we love getting in on course C. Now, for real match racing here, coming into gate number 2. This is a bit of a setup move, what we used to call it in match racing, a setup. Luna Rossa jibes into a really interesting position and in essence pins the Kiwis out to the side. The Kiwis cannot jibe out of this. Luna Rossa is going to pick their time to go back. Now, some people have said, why didn't they just sail them right off the race course? Eventually, they would have to give the Kiwis boundary protection, and they come back at their time, at their moment, and really pull off a great move.
That was a fantastic move, and they gained from that. They only had a small lead coming to the bottom marks, and now they have over a 100-metre gain, and they forced Team New Zealand to follow them around the same bottom gate. So that was great match racing by Luna Rossa. Very, very impressive sailing.
We're going to go back and look at that sequence again, and this time we will lay out and jump on Emirates Team New Zealand and listen to their banter on board.
All good, boys. Nose over. Good. Nice dive here, Pete. Yep. It's all right. Matching it. Okay, up 5, up 10, up 10. Can I be a jive round up if we go, okay? Can I be a jive round up, okay? Jive round up now. Sorry? Jive round up. Nice. Smooth, Pete. Can I be about 85 out of it? On board too early. There we go, Sasha. All good. Hills, any? Good.
I remember match racing at 10 to 15 knots and having it hectic. I can't even imagine what it's like doing 45 going into that.
And that was
maneuver.
Glenn Ashby's voice, all to leeward, explaining to Pete what was happening and when to do that maneuver. So this is the next upwind. This is where Team New Zealand just keep it as close as they can right now. Luna Rossa attacking to windward and above. They're not affecting the breeze at all of Emirates Team New Zealand. They're just trying to get in phase and keep the race close. And they're setting themselves up here to make Team New Zealand go around the same top mark as them. But look at the speed difference between the two boats, Ken.
We were watching this going, man, this can't last. The Kiwis are just blasting right through them. But again, somehow the Italians made a precarious tight spot stick. It barely, again, get around this top gate. At this, we're all out of breath at this stage. I can't believe these guys kept making these tough spots actually stick.
And once again, they make Emirates Team New Zealand follow them around the top mark. That makes the downwind a lot easier for them. If you've got the boat behind following you, it's very hard to get around. Even if you're faster downwind, which Team New Zealand are, they can't sail around them downwind because the boundaries aren't wide enough. Here it's a 150-metre lead. As they go downwind, they close this gauge. They close it up. And you see here, they're now into 73 metres. They've been following them. Look at the gas. They are sailing in the disturbed air. Even though they are directly behind, they have to find a way to get around them.
2 jibes and in. Now you and I talked about this a lot. This is kind of the beginning of the end, believe it or not. And we're talking about a pass that happened 1 full leg later. This split right now, Luna Rossa is holding on. They're saying, we're just going to do 1 and in. We're going to play the geometry of the race course, 1 maneuver and into the gate. The Kiwis are going to do 2, but the split happens, and the split that continues all the way up the next beat. Sure, Luna Rossa just barely gets around this mark in front, but the game has changed.
The game has changed by letting Team New Zealand do those extra jibes. Luna Rossa here take the bottom mark. Team New Zealand take the opposite mark, and instantly when they come out of the bottom gate, both boats go steaming off to the boundary, and all of a sudden when you're the boat in front, you don't want to let the other boat get leverage on you. It just opens up the race course and really puts the race in the hands of the weather. You don't have control anymore.
So we are coming up to the moment, and we'll go on board Luna Rossa and listen to how they decided to actually deal with this.
Bit of breeze out here, I think, Pete. No, I quite like it right with the next boat. Good angle there.
Cross, boys.
Lighter on performance. Copy, he came out the front, 2, 1, now. Got him.
He's going to find a good spot to come back up here, Killer.
Yeah.
That time around, they decide to continue, right? Because they thought they were too close to actually make a tack stick. But they're still split. They're absolutely going in the other direction. Team New Zealand has absolutely kept their air clear. They're using their pace, but they're also using the shiftiness of the conditions to their advantage. As the boats come back together again, Nathan, this next time, this is where the decision of the race is actually made.
So here they go, coming back together. Let's listen to see the chat on board the boats this time.
Go in 3. We're going to soft coming.
2, 1, down. 30.
And as there, that voice of Francesco's ready. 2-1 down. That was the commitment to say they're going to tack on Emirates Team New Zealand. We want to protect the left-hand side of the course. Team New Zealand now have no options. They have to tack and go to the right. Who knows if they wanted to go there or not, but Luna Rossa said, we want to protect the left, gave that opportunity to Emirates Team New Zealand to get out to the right-hand side of the course. Now it's all about what the wind's going to do.
I talked to so many people last night, and they said, why didn't Luna Rossa cover? Well, the fact is they were covering, but the split happened. Remember, the split initially happened 1 leg before. That's when the decision was made, and all of a sudden, they couldn't control the race course anymore. They just couldn't tack enough. A right-hand shift to the Kiwis, and this game is over. And just like they've done so many times, as soon as they get a sniff of it, they are gone. And a small edge turns into 400 meters in no time once they get around this race course. It was phenomenal to watch.
Already 200 metres and they're not even at the top mark. That just shows, I think, the power of that shift. That was obviously a significant right-hand shift, but also as soon as Team New Zealand can get a bit of fresh air, they can really put the hammer down and get going. And that's Emirates Team New Zealand going around the mark and speeding away. And we know they're a fast boat downwind. The extra tack for Italy there, having to follow the same mark, that was basically the end of the race.
That must have been so demoralizing, really. What was a near perfect race for the Italians, 1 slip up and it was over in the blink of an eye. Look at that, 400 meters all of a sudden from something that was so close. They made so many precarious situations actually work for them. And you know what? That was some incredible race that I think has had us all on edge the whole way around. Thank you to these two teams for giving the sailing world a show, and a show that we're all going to remember for a long time.
So that was race number 9 from yesterday. And we are in delay at the moment. There's an enormous crowd at the race village waiting in anticipation of a delayed start. The postponement has been pushed now another 10 minutes. So official race start of race 10 now at 4:40. 4:40 will be the new start time for race 10. I can imagine some of those folks have been sitting in their positions for a long, long time as our good little friends from Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli. They are waiting to see their team stay in the race, stay in the chase. And you know what these folks want. They want to see this all over today and the America's Cup go nowhere. Well, we are going somewhere because both teams have gone on to different jibs now, and with the wind coming in, what are we seeing here, team, about the size of the jibs? What do we got?
You know, that doesn't even look like a J1 over there on Prada, which would be the largest jib. Shirley, let's go out to you on the water. It doesn't even look like a big jib on Prada, so they're expecting something.
Kenny, it's here, it's arrived. It came in with a kick. We now have a good solid 10 knots with gusts of up to 13, and it feels like it's going to stay. I mean, sometimes with a thermal wind like this, it comes with a blast and it goes away a little bit, but to me it feels fantastic. The turquoise water, loads of breeze, difficult jib decision as we're seeing. The Kiwis have had a jib up and a jib down, and you know, right on that crossover between the 2 and 3, I'd say. The course, remember this course, we've been on this course a lot. We're right beside Rangitoto, that big volcanic island on the right-hand side, which we liked before in racing. We felt there was something on that right-hand side, so could well be that kind of racetrack where you want to protect that side. But we're set for a battle. The breeze is in, and it looks good.
Another surreal setting of the America's Cup. Welcome to the America's Cup, Stephen. And it's just
thank you, Kenny.
It never ceased to surprise us. Freddie, are you agreeing with our double gold medalist?
No, the word I'm hearing is Freddie had a big night last night, just going in for a bit of a stop and fill up the heli one, and he'll be back shortly. So just been heard that Freddie's all good. He'll be back shortly. Just a bit of a pit stop. Let's just talk about this idea, of course, that we know Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli wanted to be on this course. Are they playing games with in their head? They know they have beaten Emirates Team New Zealand out on this course before, Nathan? Or do they honestly believe they can win today?
Well, if you look at the statistics, Freddie Carr came in this morning and reminded us that Luna Rossa have actually, I think, won 3 out of the 4 races on course A. I'm not 100% sure if those facts are correct, but this is what he said to me. But they're good on course A against Team New Zealand. They sail well. They've won some races out there, and I think they'd be very excited to get out there and race in the 9 to 10 knot breeze. That's where they think that their boat is the quickest. Less shifts, you know, if you've got a fast boat and the shifts aren't that good, I think they'll be in good shape.
Just heard from race committee on our internal communication system. They're pushing the race out again to 4:45 p.m. local time. Another 5 minutes, so out to 4:45 local time. So if you're, let's say you're Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli. Now we've heard of this idea, and this is just a bit of a talk, right? The card, right? The delay card and things like that. What would you be thinking right now?
Well, you're not keeping anything to yourself today. If you can use this, each boat is allowed one 15-minute delay card for the entire event. Neither of them have played that card yet, so you're not going to hold anything back today. If you can use it to your advantage, you're not going to wait for a breakdown. You're going to use it to an advantage when you want to. It could be you got the wrong sail up. It could be you got some sort of a mechanical problem. It could be at the end of the day you're out of your wind range and you want to actually sail tomorrow. You just don't know.
Who plays it? If you're going to play it, who plays it first and why would you play? Let's look at Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli. Jib coming down, unsure of where they're at. just extra time? Because we understand these conditions suit them. That's what we understand. That's what they want.
Well, you're right. These conditions, we believe, suit Prada. And tomorrow, looking at the forecast, it looks quite a lot windier, 15 knots, maybe a bit more. Probably some really good racing if we do push this into tomorrow. Prada on match point, you know, if they have an issue, a technical issue with the boat and can't start, they have to use it. They can't just drop a race through a technical problem on the boat, or if they think they've got the wrong jib. Whereas Team New Zealand, if they have an issue and they have to sail a bit compromised, I reckon they would do that because they want to save it till there's a real problem. I don't see Team New Zealand using that card unless it's a real problem that stops them from racing. Whereas Prada, it's the same thing. You know, they've got to shop and they've got to race and they've got to be strong. So if anyone's going to use it today, it will be Prada. But Jimmy said in the press conference, didn't even cross their mind yesterday going into that last race that was shifty. He didn't even think about it.
Do you think it crosses their mind today?
Maybe. Honestly, you just don't know. The unpredictability of the America's Cup is predictable. That's just the way it is. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if one of these teams, if Luna Rossa pulled the card at the most bizarre time.
Well, you remember back to San Francisco, they were allowed to, you know, play the card and basically get out of a race. Jimmy Spittle said there they did it strategically. They were struggling, you know, to get on a roll, and they played the card. But do you remember what happened just before the last race of the America's Cup? They had wing failure.
Almost busted their wing.
And they couldn't play the card. So they had to hot glue it together 5 minutes before the start. They had someone up the wing within 5 minutes before that race begins. And, man, I bet you wish he had it up his sleeve then. So I don't think they're going to do it unnecessarily, that's for sure.
There will be many people watching around the world right now looking at these scenes going, why can't that be us? Auckland, New Zealand, in what we call level 1, which is pretty much normal life without international travel as it stands. That is your beautiful virtual eye race course of Course A, and it really is coming in, and that's the exciting part. Just a reminder, wherever you are watching this, race start predicted now at 4:45 local time. Who will it favour? Well, as Kenny, you keep saying me, it's the America's Cup. Just toss a coin and see what happens.
What this is allowing is more Italians to wake up in the morning and tune in their televisions and watch this race from the start and cheer on their team from afar.
Another jib, another thought, confusion, or just games?
No. You just go with the breeze. Exactly what both of these teams have said. They set the jib for the start and the first leg. What happens from there on is gravy, really. They have to set up for whatever the wind strength. They have about 5 or 6 different size jibs, each team, and it's really critical, as we've seen in this event so far, to get that jib call right.
That is Team New Zealand, Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender of the America's Cup. 1 race win away. And they're the big boys, some of the grinders. They're the ones that just have to work so hard, because this is no hold barred racing. And these amazing flying machines, let's call them that, flying machines that crank up at, we've seen over 53 knots. That was a long way ago in much stronger conditions, but that's what these babies can do.
That's a little jib they're setting up for, Nathan. Look at that pennant on the top of the jib right there. That's a small jib.
Could be that J3 that they won the racing with the other day.
So we are, sorry Nathan, so we are in standby mode. 4:45 predicted race start for race 10 of the America's Cup match in 2021. Hold your breath. Four years ago, Team New Zealand claimed the America's Cup for a 3rd time after securing a 7-1 series victory over the holders Oracle Team USA. Amongst those to hold the America's Cup aloft in Bermuda, Dutchman, that man right there, Carlo Huisman. Huisman turned his back on an Olympic career and considers himself very lucky to be part of Emirates Team New Zealand.
The Olympic road is I think is a really tricky one, and something that I really wanted to do. You know, always wanted to be an Olympic athlete, but I think it always was a little bit too late. With sailing, I had a real opportunity, and I just I decided to go for that. Because of the lack of my technical sailing skills and my non-Olympic background, I really had to kind of fight my way to the top in a lot of ways. So I realized that I wasn't good enough of a sailor. So I was like, all right, I'm probably strong enough to be a grinder. So I just thought, let's get really strong and try and become an America's Cup grinder. It's pretty grueling. You kind of just have your heartbeat in your brain, in your head almost, and all you think about is just pushing on a little bit longer, and that's what I do. I feel pretty humbled and grateful to be part of a team like this, you know, the best sailing team in the world, really.
The New Zealanders paddling into the history books. The trophy belongs to New Zealand.
It was a pretty surreal thing, really, to come in, be completely, in a way, completely out of my comfort zone, and then to stay on with the team and do well, and then, you know, be part of the win. That was so important for the team as well, because I came in as an outsider, really, and it took me a while to understand how important that winning the cup was for the team after 2013. It's pretty humbling to be on a machine that's that quick, you know, and powerful. So that's a pretty cool feeling, and I sometimes remind some of the newer guys that it is, you know, there's not a lot of people in the world that have the ability to go this fast or sail these types of boats, so that they should feel pretty lucky. Yeah, because it is a bit of a beast when it's going full noise. I'm really stoked that it turned out this way. I never thought it would happen this way, but I mean, sure, I could jump in, you know, a dinghy and do all that stuff for 4 years and try and, you know, launch my Olympic campaign, but then I would just have to look at videos of the other guys, you know, filling my role doing this sort of sailing, and I would just have to punch myself in the face, I think. There is no better boat around the track than America's Cup boat, so this is definitely my ultimate, yeah, this is my Olympic Games, I guess.
There he is, Carlo Husman in the pit, ready for race 10 of the America's Cup match. Huge crowds in on race day 7 at the America's Cup Village. Italian flags, New Zealand flags. People have been sitting there probably for a couple of hours waiting for this match race to get underway. 4:45 local time, we expect race start out on course A. Mother Nature has played the game today, Kenny.
Thank goodness. I mean, you look offshore right there, it still looks really light. So this is a true right off the beach sea breeze that we're looking at right now. Could get fickle again, you never know. These sea breezes, there's not a lot of punch to this sea breeze offshore. There's no question about that.
Got some good news. Freddie and Heli 1 is back. Let's go up top to see Freddie, nice little pit stop. Now what do you make of the wind after that?
Yeah, so we're back at our hovering altitude of 900 feet. On the race course A, it looks like a classic race course A to me. A little bit more breeze on the left, as we saw the last time we were here, but in the tune-up runs, the boats on the right-hand side have been getting a little right-hand shift, so it is that age-old game of pressure versus shift. The other thing that I'm reminded of, on race course A, there has not been an overtake in the 36th match on this race course, putting the emphasis back on the starts and a race up to the first gate. It looks a little bit like that again today.
He talks about starts, the good old starts. So when you hear what Freddie Carr says, what do we make of how each team starts, Nathan?
Well, they've got to start well based on that statistic, don't they? Go on to the shifty conditions of course C and that fickle wind we had the other day out on course C. This is going to be back to the starts. And if you remember the starts we've had out on this course, it went 1 for 1 each day, didn't it? No one got 2 starts right in one day.
I sense a few nerves, but the two gentlemen beside me, a few butterflies as to what we're going to see unfold in this 10th race.
So I've done this 3 times on the boats, and this is my 3rd time in the booth. And there's nothing like a potential final race. This is different. This always feels different. For both teams, it feels different. You can even see the crowd. It feels different. It is, you know, so much work and so much effort. You don't want this to end if you're the Italians. It cannot end like this. Look at, they got foils on the Spirit of New Zealand now. They're going to pop that baby up and out of the water.
Someone said that was the last time you were in the America's Cup. That's what you were in.
Too far. I can take it. I can take it out of myself, but be careful, big fella.
Emirates Team New Zealand. Can you imagine what's going through the mind of that whole crew, their shore crew, the chase crew? What are they thinking? Is this race the race when it happens? And then if you go across to Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli, they must win. They cannot afford to lose a race. They have been fighters from the get-go. Even go right back to the Prada Cup final. They've wanted to fight this all the way.
I can tell you that last night, the emotional, passionate sports people of New Zealand, they thought yesterday was going to be the day. It was packed down here. There were people ready for that to be the final day. And not that they were disappointed, but they're anxious. Let's put it that way.
Going to be a crazy night if Emirates Team New Zealand do the job, because it's also St. Patrick's Day.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Fiddly deep potatoes.
This is the race committee. The wind sampling is complete and this race is live.
We have a race, and now the tension ratchets up just a little bit more. Race 10 of the America's Cup match in 2021. Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli on port entry. Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender, in on starboard. What is about to unfold on course A on the beautiful, pristine waters of the Waitemata Harbour?
Here we go. Up over 10 knots at 10, 11, 12 knots. Right in the wheelhouse of a great race, but like Freddie just reminded us, not a lot of wind shifts out here, so that makes for a tougher place to pass. Shifty though, Nathan, look at that, shifty.
Yep. Has been shifting around a little bit, and I guess that's what happens when the new breeze comes in. It shifts around initially, and then eventually it'll settle down, and so maybe there's a couple more shifts on this race course than what we've seen over previous days, but you know, without doubt, your focus right now is winning this start, and that'll make your life a lot easier.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli coming on the left side of your screen. That is port entry. They are allowed in at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And then 10 seconds late at the 2-minute mark, the starboard entry boat, which we Emirates Team New Zealand are allowed in. And to start the battle in race number 10.
Good course.
Yep. Slowly,
big, at the moment it's showing big committee boat. At the moment we're wide right.
Yeah,
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli are into the pre-start. Emirates Team New Zealand firing as well from the starboard. They are coming into the pre-start. Here we go.
Jimmy Spithill just gave us a feel for the starting line and their strategy there, Nathan. He said big weather end or committee boat favor, right-hand end favor, and they're already thinking wide right.
So as the lead boat, you know, they're on port, they're leading away. How are they actually going to get that right-hand side? Because they're going to be the first ones to turn back. So very interesting here. I expect if they want to be wide and right, they're going to turn back later than normal.
We're winning the Downwind race for sure.
Is it down now?
Down.
And he's just gliding into a jibe right now. The real question is New Zealand going to jump them, or are they going to attack and push from above?
Posting there. Ports around up there.
Goes lower.
One, put down.
Pull the way up. Pull the way up.
New Zealand does not fall for it. They both want the right-hand side.
All good on him.
Luna Rossa was barely trying to jibe. They weren't trying to jibe, and the Kiwis didn't let them do it.
So now he's going to try and shut them out. Jimmy Spittle's going to try and shut them out, but Peter Bell looks like he's got plenty of speed. Let's just hear the onboard comms. This is a critical moment in this race.
Clean pressure here.
No risk of being late, I think.
Okay, 0 on 10.
Yeah, we can see him.
One good one down to a single.
I'll give you a little kiss here.
Here comes the push.
Kiwis are in an interesting spot here. 25 seconds to go.
Yeah, going speed. Up again, please. Yeah. Trim. Easing landing on those, brother. He's fully downwind here. He's fully downwind. Take a bumper's line. Yeah. Almost all the way here. Nice, guys. Good. Time to speed here, Pete. Watch that. Go. 2, 1.
It's on. Race 10 of the America's Cup Match 2021. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, defender, Emirates Team New Zealand.
Key moment in the race. They wanted the right hard there. They actually came in late and didn't mind starting tight. The Kiwis didn't, knowing that they would be tacking soon after. We're going to have to wait a couple minutes for the first cross. These boats are going to go to the edges of the course and come back together. That's when we'll know the verdict of who won the start.
Yeah, right. Big pressure on the right looks good.
Yep.
But right.
-2 is good. Big righty still.
Yeah.
Surely this is reminiscent of that critical cross yesterday where they sound like they're in a big right-hand shift out there.
Yeah, it's gone to 60 degrees. The course, I think, set up at 45. So just at start time, massive 15-degree right-hand shift. We're on the right-hand side with the Kiwis. Also, to me, there's always more pressure over here. So great call by the Kiwis. Got the shift
Would you
and the
hit him on the way
pressure.
back here, Joshy? Just knocking you guys.
Okay, no lower.
There's not going to be much into it, Nathan, but it looks like first cross, first blood to the Kiwis. Starboard tack advantage coming from the top of the screen.
But what side are they going to protect? Are they going to tack and hit him, or are they going to let them go to the right-hand side?
Pressure straight ahead. Pressure up offshore in general.
So Team New Zealand covered it. They want to protect that right-hand side. They got first blood out of the right-hand side. They've now got a small lead. And they're forcing Prada back out to the left-hand side of the course. Let's go to Freddie in the sky. What do you see as we go up the track, mate?
Yeah, the same as what we saw before the start. The better mixed pressure is left middle, where Prada are heading to now. And the shift is obviously still right. They're still talking about the right-hand shift. And the windward mark right now, the best breeze on the course is coming down left middle.
We have been critical of Peter Burling's starts throughout the series, but I got to tell you what, that took guts to know that you were going to start what we call tight right and bail into it, attack right away. They had a strategy, and he pulled it off. Very good job by Peter Burling.
They top left better, so maybe see how it is. Right.
Just heard Blair Chuk say top left is a little bit better, so they're seeing what Freddie and the helicopter's seeing at the moment. You can see this lead difference is very, very similar. Those angles out the front indicate the angle the boat's traveling at. New Zealand are attack ahead, so when Luna Rossa attack right now, you expect that this lead that Luna Rossa have artificially right now might drop a bit, but if that's a left-hand shift, we might see a lead change here. Very close between these two boats at the moment.
Nice pressure on our
We are
window.
on leg 1 of 6 in a critical race 10 of the 2021 America's Cup match.
Left shift back to Prada. What are they going to do? Can they leave out, or are they going to have to duck?
We're going 1 for a right. I mean, 1 for a right. Yeah, very happy with the breeze on the bow.
Coming up, boys.
Good game to Luna Rossa. I think this is the first time, Nathan, we've seen the Kiwis ahead and they haven't just simply stretched away. Luna Rossa keeping it tight.
Copy that on the downwind and just go a little bit lower heel. Copy. Starting to knock you. Real good phaser. Yeah.
And here you can see that's the lead chain. Luna Rossa choosing to go behind. Emirates Team New Zealand had right of way there. And I think that the gains have been coming from the left-hand side of the course on that particular case for Luna Rossa. The real question is, what have we got at the top of the course? And if you look to the top left of our picture, that's live pictures there. Looks like Emirates Team New Zealand made a bit of a gain here coming to the top, and I'm not sure if Luna Rossa are going to lay the left gate here. If they lay the left gate, they're going to get a split. Let's just listen and see how it comes here.
Yeah, we're going to struggle. This pressure should help us out.
Left here.
Nice angle there.
Emirates Team New Zealand through the top gate for the first time. One leg of 6 completed. They will lead Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli around on the first downwind leg in this race. Tight margins.
Surely it seems a little bit shiftier than we've seen in the past out on this course. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and also up and down in speed and velocity. 10 knots up to 14 knots. So big patches of light wind, which is making a massive difference to performance.
Emirates Team New Zealand with a lead that sits at around 230 odd metres in front of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. The equation for Luna Rossa is quite simple. They must win this race. They must chase down Emirates Team New Zealand. They will have fans on the edge of their seat early in the morning in Italy, and crowd here, the Italian fans will be praying for something to happen, but you get the feeling the numbers outweigh them when it comes to crowds. But back on the race course, Emirates Team New Zealand with the early advantage. Maybe we're in for another classic.
Yeah, almost.
Freddie, up to you in the helicopter for a second. Sure, it always seems like the Kiwis just have a little jump downwind, doesn't it?
It does seem like they have a little jump. I was very surprised that the Kiwis didn't jive and come over to the top left-hand side of the course. I think Prada's actually gained a little bit in the top half of this beat, in this run, apologies. But now Team New Zealand on the left-hand side in the better pressure. It's a little, you've got to get over to this left-hand side and cash it in. It's like 2 knots left to right at the moment.
The hydraulic traveler system on this Kiwi boat, it's the bane of our existence. Believe me, folks, we love it just as little as you love it when it comes to the great sounds that come off of these boats.
I can tell you our sound technicians have worked very, very hard to minimize that, but we also found out too, it affects the onboard communication between Blair Tuke and Peter Burling as well, so it annoys them, I suppose, as much as it annoys us at times. Let's go on board Luna Rossa. They're chasing. They have to be the hunter.
Yeah, I don't think we will be able to do one in here.
Delay. Okay, copy.
Yeah. We go early then. Stand by. 3, 2, 1, 4 down.
That was some interesting chat. They were trying to work out, are they going to lay the bottom marks with one jibe only? You can see they've jibed just before that red line, which is the lay line. Team New Zealand are going to jibe here very soon as well. Both marks were to the right of the picture, and Team New Zealand jibing to get in sync here right now. So both boats look like they're heading towards the same mark. I think there's been a really good gain here by Luna Rossa on this run.
This is one of the very first runs we've seen that Luna Rossa has hung in there or even gained.
Yep, we got
Potential JK.
Copy. Let me know over there, Kiko.
Potential JK.
Let me know the job.
Stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Emirates Team New Zealand once again leading Luna Rossa around the bottom gate for the first time. They'll complete 2 legs of 6, 4 to go.
A little stuck here on Emirates Team New Zealand. Not their best jibe and best rounding. A wide rounding going around it.
Going to be a little fast here around the point.
But that's a bad rounding by Prada. They look like they're off the foil there. Shirley, can you see how that bottom mark panned out there for Luna Rossa?
To me, it looked like they went the 2 boards down, ready for that JK turn. Really early and quite a light phase as well, and it was just too long hanging there too deep with the two boards down and really, really slowed down. It was a big loss.
Can't afford any mistakes on the Italian boat.
Both teams showing just a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, but the Italians made their mistake also in the dirty air or the mixed up air coming off the wings of the Kiwi boat. So that absolutely compounded the problem compared to what happened to the Kiwis.
We're not going to give him third here, so just our mode.
Nathan, close race, got not very close.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly it can change. You know, Luna Rossa were catching them and then they sailed into the dirty air, as you said. They jibed to go to that left-hand mark as they approached the bottom mark. Team New Zealand matched them, put disturbed air on them. Team New Zealand looked like they had a struggle of a bottom mark, but Luna Rossa's bottom mark rounding was even tougher. And now the lead is stretched out quite a bit, and we'll just listen on board here. Team New Zealand will be tacking and keeping in check the rest of this race, that's for sure. That's a huge sigh of relief if you're a Kiwi fan, that bottom mark rounding.
He carries on still. Mine. Great speed, so can tack whenever. Yep. Hard hit on this one, Josh. Yeah, copy that. I'll watch for his board. He's just behind our 90 at the moment, so we'll be matching. Copy. Zero heel, please, Pete. Okay, fires, go now. Fire. Forward. A little bit easy, yeah, nice.
Hard hit was the call by Peter Burling, which means they're tacking right on top of, using all the dirty air off of their sails for the against the Italians.
You can see Peter Burling's getting very aggressive now, isn't he? He's just got that little bit of a lead out. You can see on this graphic here, that white trail behind the boats is the bad air. It looks like Luna Rossa is sailing just to leeward of that graphic. It's very hard to give your competitor bad air, but I think Peter Burling is saying to his boys, let's shut the race down. Let's not give him a chance to get back into this. If you're a Kiwi fan watching this right now, you're starting to get a little bit excited.
Flags a big right at the top there.
Emirates Team New Zealand lengthening their lead on the third leg of 6. And it's all important 10th race of the 2021 America's Cup match. One senses now. Control from Emirates Team New Zealand. Play it safe. Do it by the numbers.
He carries on still. Okay, he fires it now. 20 seconds till his line. Do you want to go on him or go past? Big gain. I think we'll just go to Layla.
That's the sounds of Josh Jr. He's actually the eyes to leeward of the boat, to the right-hand side of the boat. He's talking about firing. That means they're putting the dagger board, the wing, into the water, and that's the telltale sign that they're going to tack. So they're using these little plays to help them communicate with each other.
So Freddie, as we're approaching the top mark here, Team New Zealand have got a pretty good lead. What do you see weather-wise? Is it going to change much between here and the top mark?
Pretty much a repeat of Windward Gate number 1 here, Nath. The best pressure is left middle. If you do a left turn at the top, which Emirates Team New Zealand are lining up for, they're going to bear away into nice pressure, probably 2 knots more on the left-hand side. And if Prada choose to split to the right, they could get a little shift, but there is less pressure over on that side.
So Team New Zealand coming in on starboard tack now to the top mark. This lead is really stretched out a little bit now, and if Freddie's right and he's got some really good eyes in the helicopter, a left turn here for Emirates Team New Zealand's going to put them in much stronger breeze, and this lead might just continue to grow.
Pretty steady pressure at the mark, nothing spectacular.
Emirates Team New Zealand about to complete 50% of race number 10. They have completed 3 legs of 6. We'll round that top gate and head back down on leg number 4.
He'll be taking right turn in about 15 seconds.
They can feel it.
Looks good all the way, eh? No deeper feet, little mate.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, finally through the top gate, taking the right-hand mark.
Then by 3, 2,
and that lead has lengthened 27 seconds in favour of Emirates Team New Zealand.
He went the boundary and jogged.
Yes. Right, decent pressure.
Don't watch if you're a Luna Rossa fan right now. I think that's what that means.
-1.
Okay. Numbers.
3 right.
5 boys.
Let's see there, the VMG numbers in the bottom, 29 knots versus 33 knots. That could be a case of having extra wind. It also could be the case of having a slightly faster boat downwind. Let's remember, Emirates Team New Zealand's foils are in the realm of 30% smaller. And when the breeze gets over this 10, 12 knot wind range, those little foils seem to have a little bit more speed, and you combine that with extra pressure and you have a rocket ship.
Surely get that sense that Emirates Team New Zealand are controlling this race beautifully.
Left here, 38.
Coming down on this.
Okay.
No deep for lighter. 3 left. Slowly left. 5 left. Good left. Going probably another.
Back up to Freddie. Still, this sea breeze seems like it's solid now, Freddie. Right, that light air offshore isn't creeping back in again.
No, that's right. It's got much better mix throughout the sort of 15 minutes of this race so far. There was that southwesterly no wind patch on course C about a mile downwind from us, and Team New Zealand fans will be pleased to know that that's filled in this northeasterly. So unlike the last time I was in the helicopter, it doesn't look like we're going to be having any shutdowns in this race.
This lap is looking more like a lap of honour for the Kiwis all the time, extending all the time. I've just been watching the speeds. They're at least 2 knots quicker, sometimes 5 knots quicker than their opponent. And if you've worked on this programme and supported this programme, this is a proud moment, just seeing what they can do and actually having an open road to show us what all that hard work has meant.
Yeah.
He's marginal. He's probably marginal left there. He won't make it. Nah. Happy right turn. Yeah. Trying to get a steep. And in for one more round up.
Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender of the America's Cup, heading into complete leg number 4 of race number 10. They are 2 legs away from winning the cup.
Good breast when you can, 37. How's the good one, boys? 8 left. 0 hill.
Good time to sail perfect right now, Nathan, aren't they?
Emirates Team New Zealand sailing very fast. Looks like they've stretched their lead once again. Just a couple of extra seconds on that downwind, but
JK here. Going to drop the ball during the turn though. Okay, slow turn on.
Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli have always said they are in the fight and they will stay in the fight. And they are still in the fight. They're 37 seconds adrift of Emirates Team New Zealand. I thought the telling moment at the press conference last night from Jimmy Spiller says there aren't going to be any towel thrown in. We are here to go all the way.
Well, they immediately try to create a split by doing that very cool, tricky maneuver around the leeward mark. They all call it JK and try to get as much of a split as they can. Nathan, now it's kind of turning into desperation time. There's times to keep it close. There's other times just to need a Hail Mary, and we're getting close to Hail Mary time.
Yes, you're 100% right, but there's not many things they can do. The more maneuvers you do on these boats, you lose distance every maneuver. So Team New Zealand, if Luna Rossa start tacking and trying to force something, Team New Zealand will probably just start sailing boundary to boundary. They've got 466 metre lead here right now. It's a pretty substantial lead. Right now, if you're Luna Rossa, you're just hoping that Team New Zealand make a big mistake.
It would have to be an enormous mistake, right?
We go back to the start of this race, and Peter Burling, both in the press down here and in this booth, has been really having a hard time, taking a hard time in these pre-starts. They had a plan in that pre-start, and they pulled it off. I give him all kinds of credit.
No, you're 100% there, and there's a lot of pressure on the helmsman of any of these boats, and there's a lot of people watching the racing today, and he would love nothing more than to execute a start and lead from the beginning of the race right through, and so far so good.
He responded to pressure. You can imagine that Peter Burling has been under incredible pressure, potentially internally as well as externally, and they say champions deliver when it matters.
Good phase, boys. Happy a little lower heel intent, so I was probably a bit quick out on the can. 5, right? So a little more lower feet. Friction, I know it's a bit lighter, but... Average cruise.
5. Coming up a little. Okay, pressure coming here. 2.
No quitting in the Italian boat. I'll tell you what, the same communication, that same level of communication, the cadence on board the boat, absolutely zero quit, no sense of panic, but the clock is certainly running on them right now.
Actually, we go to this path. We'll think about going back. So, real puppy, I don't think it'll be a good one. 3, 2, 1. Little knock there. Yeah. Happy to push he sets up and tacks now, Pete.
Kenny, you said in our pre-show today that Luna Rossa had to sail the perfect race. You get the feeling Emirates Team New Zealand were listening to you.
But we heard Jimmy Spithill say we want the right. The weather end is favored, we want the right. And guess what? He got outdone by Peter Burling in that pre-start. It's all going to... Listen, Course A, we talked about it before. Freddie reminded us of it this morning. Course A has not produced a pass yet. You have to win the start. The Kiwis went for it at the start, and it worked. And by the way, the Italians wanted that start, and the other guys took it away. Good for them.
A 500-plus metre advantage to Emirates Team New Zealand. They're going to hit the top mark shortly for the very last time.
0. I mean, pretty dynamic up there. That's all good. Just get around the right here and just see what it looks like. Yep, he's still on port. Going to lay. 11 right.
Starting to feel it, Stephen. They're starting to feel it.
Definitely this mark's good with the big right here. Yeah, probably just carry on the boundary. Nice angle there.
Emirates Team New Zealand hitting the top gate for the very last time. Sailing this magnificent flying machine called Te Rehutai. They'll round the gate, head downwind for the very last time, and one feels pretty sure the party's about to start.
Never know. You never know. But man, if you're a betting person right now, which of course we're not,
carries on.
looking kind of good for the Kiwis right now.
Average breeze coming to the front edge of it.
Kind of good. It's looking very good for the Kiwis right now.
I'm trying to create hope.
I know you're trying to create hope, but they've just stretched out once again, and it's just showing the pure boat speed of that boat and the professionalism of that team to come back and have such a great start and really control this race from the beginning.
Okay, I will.
You will.
3, 2, 1, clear, yours.
Nathan, we've talked a lot in this event about the fastest boat always wins the America's Cup. There's been a lot of talk about pretty even boats, et cetera, et cetera. To me, there's been no question. As this series has gone along, and we even mentioned this early on, the Italians had to put them away early. The Kiwis have gotten better. They've gotten race tougher. They've gotten better. And the faster boat is about to win the America's Cup.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think Luna Rossa put up a really strong fight at the beginning. They were starting well, executing everything well, but you kind of got the feeling as this event was going on that the faster boat was gaining momentum. These guys were starting to find modes in that boat that they needed to combat another boat. When you're sailing around on your own for 2 or 3 years, it's hard to know what mode to sail, but they lined up with Luna Rossa early on in this event, and they're finding modes that they didn't know they had. And as always, the fastest boat wins the America's Cup, and we're seeing that right now.
It has been a mighty challenge from Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli, but in the end, you come into this final match race, as it turns out to be, needing 4 wins in a trot. and they have been, well, we have to call it, don't we? They were outsailed at the start, and that was the difference. Peter Burling did what he needed to do in the match race that mattered.
Nice stuff coming on here. Fine. Nice job, Phil.
Impressive boats, impressive sight, impressive event, and you know what? The defender always tends to have the advantage, and they took advantage of it, and congratulations. It's looking pretty solid for the Kiwis at this stage.
We did have the one and in. One and in. Little pacer. Copy. Reasonably steady. Probably more of a pace up moving, but yeah,
One more jibe for the America's Cup.
Boys out of this one.
Emirates Team New Zealand are on track to add another memorable chapter to the America's Cup history book. Let's remember their sailing odyssey, this Cup odyssey, is only 34 years young. That odyssey from Fremantle would turn into obsession. And then it would come to 1995 that Team New Zealand finally got their hands on sailing's holy grail, becoming just the second country to win the Cup from outside of America. In 2000, they prevailed to all comers, but unable to follow up in 2003. 21 years after their first successful defence on home waters, Emirates Team New Zealand do it again in a new class of boat that proves Kiwis can fly. Sailing's most treasured prize, the America's Cup, stays in New Zealand.
Yes, boy. Fucking nice. Enjoy the moment, boys. Well done.
I just got to watch out for these blokes here.
Don't worry about the sails, boys.
Unreal.
Good luck, boys.
And in come the Valiant Runner-Up. They have put up a fight, and they have done the America's Cup and Italy proud.
It's going to turn all the way up into the right, boys. Hey, a bit up there.
Just coming behind now, pistol.
Careful, boys.
Emirates Team New Zealand. And a Rossa Prada Pirelli. That concludes the 7 race wins to Emirates Team New Zealand, which brings the completion of America's Cup 36. Congratulations to both teams. Incredible match. Race committee out.
Right, boys.
Ian, on
behalf of us, we'd just like to say thanks for running a great event in beautiful conditions.
Emirates Team New Zealand claim the old mug for the 4th time. The 4th time in 26 years.
The volunteers, thanks very much for the series, running a fantastic event. And Pete, if you can hear me, congrats, mate, to you and the whole team.
You've got a feel for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. The look on Francesco Bruni's face then says it all. But this is the team of the moment. You can imagine from Cape Reinga to Stewart Island and dairies and cafes around New Zealand on every water cooler, the conversation for the last week has been about when this would happen. Finally, New Zealand can breathe. Burling's men in black have done it again. How good that must feel. Final score in the America's Cup match 2021. Defender 7, Challenger 3. So, Kenny, Nathan, it's done. The 36th edition of the America's Cup is all over. Fastest boat won. Took them time to get into their groove, but they got into their groove and won 5 in a row.
Fastest boat always wins, and you know what? This has been quite an event, isn't it? That it ceases to amaze. The America's Cups, the ups and downs, the drama, the trials and tribulations, the fighting between the teams, both on the water and off the water. Fast boats, crazy boats, slow boats, flying boats. Nathan, I think these boats are here to stay.
I think they are here to stay. I think this America's Cup was super interesting. We had 2 very different design boats. You look at the hull shapes, you look at the foils, you look at even the way they controlled the sails, yet interesting racing. And particularly early on in this series, they were going 1 for 1 in boats that you just couldn't understand why one would win and then the other would win. And when one boat got a lead, they'd extend and the other one would keep it close. So it's been an interesting series, and it seemed like halfway through this series, Emirates Team New Zealand worked a couple of things out. The tacking improved.
On the foredeck, but we'll try and get everyone on the
They
yacht
found a
for
couple of
photo.
modes they didn't have before, and by finding those modes, were able to really unleash the beast, and they were ripping.
There's the boss, Grant Dalton, climbing aboard, and as the skipper says, you hear Peter Billing say, we get everyone on board, need a photo. Need to remember this.
It's a strong foredeck right there.
Just bet special right now. There are your champions of the 36th America's Cup, Emirates Team New Zealand. For the 2nd time, they successfully win on home waters.
For a sports-crazed Kiwi nation, what a great sight. The passion.
Well, if you're going to log a date in the memory banks, it's quite a simple one. St. Patrick's Day 2021, March 17, Emirates Team New Zealand win the 36th edition of the America's Cup. Shirley Robinson, I know you love an occasion. It's turned into an occasion.
We're right beside Emirates Team New Zealand. And just think, Stephen, how composed, how clinical, how intimidating this team has been. And to watch them celebrate, you know, nearly all their team, not just the guys who sail on the boat, but everybody joining in. The emotion is so impressive, so incredible. You can feel how hard they've worked for this very moment. It's so special.
Especially when you get to spray the expensive mum champagne around as well, because that's a well-deserved slug. 4 years, thousands upon thousands of hours of design, training, physical pain the grinders and everyone goes through. In one moment, you just can't take it away. 4 years comes down to this one moment. Those smiles are not going away for a long time. Freddie Carr up in Heli 1. How does it feel, Freddie?
Massive congratulations to Emirates Team New Zealand, and well done to Prada. I mean, what a match, the 36th match. I think it's a match that sets us up really nicely for the future. What a great class of boat we have here. Having come out the old IACC classes in 2003 and 2007 and go through this foiling generation and land on this class we have now with stadium racing, the America's Cup's in a healthy place, and you can only see that by the amount of fans out here watching it and the global audience that sailing now has.
Does it make you want to go for another crack, Freddie?
Yeah, why not? I'm only 39 and the shoulders are still turning over, so why not?
So the men in black do the job in 2021. There's Stephen Ferguson. Such an immaculate sporting DNA in his family. His dad a double Olympic, I think it was triple Olympic gold medalist. Peter Burton can't get enough of that champagne mum, can he? I'll have some more. He only got a dribble when he was all sprayed, so I'll have some more, thanks very much.
Work awful hard for that moment. Spray as much as you want, fellas. St. Patrick's Day in Auckland, New Zealand will never be the same.
became the youngest skipper in 2017 to win an America's Cup and to go back to back. You now start. And let's ask this question: do we now start talking dynasties? You think 4 cups in 26 years? That's pretty good numbers, right?
I'm a member of the New York Yacht Club, so I'm sticking with one dynasty so far. But these guys
I'm suggesting maybe the start. I'll sit in the corner in the dark if you want me to.
You have to be so impressed by what these guys have done, often with less. That's well known. They make more with less, and that is, they're not the highest funded, but man, oh man, they have innovation in their DNA, Nathan, and it never fails. The Kiwis always come up with something interesting and something that simply works.
They sure do. Last time out in Bermuda, they came up with the bikes, and that obviously was a big key to why they were winning in Bermuda. This time around, they've defended it. I think probably the question that's starting to creep into a few people's minds is, what next? What's the next cup going to look like? Are they going to be able to defend 2 times in a row? Last time around, that wasn't possible. So I'm sure none of these guys are thinking about this right here and now, but give it a couple of months and it all starts again. Another 3-4 years, however long it's going to be, of hard work to defend the cup. And I bet you there's a lot of challengers out there right now really keen to get involved in this event.
And in this day and age of professional sports and professional sailing, how do you keep a team like this together? Can they keep a team like this together? This might be the last day that a team like this ever sails together.
Well, it's all about creating culture where you want people to stay a part of your team. I think they've done a great job of doing that so far. And, you know, so long as everyone's happy within the team, everyone's focused on the task at hand, I think you'll find everyone's happy to stay where they are.
On board the victorious Emirates Team New Zealand and their helmsman Peter Burling. Pete, congratulations. You just won an America's Cup again. How does it feel?
Oh, mate, absolutely unreal. And, you know, I think coming back to the chase boat and just seeing all the people involved in this campaign over 3 or so years, you know, how many Kiwis are out here supporting the event again. You know, we've had messages from everyone from the Prime Minister to high school kids to, you know, just about anyone you can think of support, and it just means the world to us as a team. You know, we're obviously absolutely blown away by being able to achieve what we have as a group and win another America's Cup, but it's just been the most amazing experience along the way.
Pete, congratulations first and foremost on your home waters. I can't fathom what that feels like. Hey, let's just talk about the race real quick for a second. The start was magnificent. You guys wanted the right, you took the right, you were patient. They tried to coax you into actually leading back, but you got the start you wanted, and it worked. Yeah, well, I think, you know, we've been learning all week and a lot of very even starts, but, you know, that one we definitely wanted the ride, and, you know, we're willing to, you know, give up that first tack to get there. So, you know, we just wanted to be a good boat speed on the hip and able to fold and lead out there. And, you know, I think from there we really showed, you know, what this boat can do, and, you know, we're really happy with the package we've got here. And I think, you know, when we get to stretch the legs and get on the right side of a few shifts, we really proved that it's a pretty nice boat.
Hey, Pete, congrats, mate. Awesome sailing all week. Well done. Got a question for you. What's better, defending the America's Cup or winning it in Bermuda? Which one's better?
Oh, mate, it's so hard to tell. You know, definitely winning it's got all the emotion of that and just an incredible time in Bermuda, but definitely a lot smaller group. But, you know, I don't think you can think of much more special environment than this, with, you know, over a couple of thousand of boats out every day, it seemed. You know, just the village absolutely packed, people everywhere. And to do something like this on home water is something that I think our whole team's incredibly proud of.
Yeah, hey, Pete, we've got Jimmy Spittle and Francesco Bruni listening in. Would you like to say something to the lads?
Yeah, I think, yeah, congrats on a great series. You know, it's obviously been really hard fought, and I really love racing against you guys. I think, you know, from all of us here at Team New Zealand, we'd just like to say, you know, well done and great racing. Thanks again.
All right, Pete.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you.
Pete, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations once again. There's still lots of celebrating to go on with. Let's go on board Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli with Jimmy Spittle and Francesco Bruni. Francesco, hard luck. Valiant effort, fantastic series that Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli delivered to everybody in the sailing world. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic experience. I would just want to congratulate first with Team New Zealand, obviously. They've done a fantastic job. But I think also I need to congratulate with Luna Rossa, an amazing team. I think we proved to the world that we could do it. And yeah, it's been hard luck in the last couple of days, but definitely, I mean, we've done, I think, a great job as a team.
Keko, congratulations first and foremost. You have shown the world a lot of class through this whole thing. We're very impressed on how high you held your head and how you represented your team. Do you have anything you want to say, both in English and in Italian, to all your friends back home, all the supporters back home?
Well, I can say that it's not finished, and I'm sure Mr. Bertelli and Luna Rossa will try again. And we have a lot of experience now, and yeah, I'm just very happy with how this team is being run, and very happy with everything. And thank you, Italia. Grazie Italia per il supporto. Grazie.
Francesco, thank you so much for your time. We'll go across to have a quick chat to Jimmy. Jimmy, it's one of those days for a team that said they would never stop fighting. You guys never stopped fighting.
No, it's an incredible team, and really the whole campaign. I really just can't thank the entire team, especially the guys that are on the shore. It's just been an absolute relentless campaign, and you know, just to see the passion, the emotion, and the work ethic that the Italians portray has been such an amazing, definitely one of the most enjoyable campaigns in that regard for me. Very lucky to sort of be embraced into an Italian team, and you know, obviously full credit to Team New Zealand. They developed a fantastic package and deservedly champions.
Hey Jimmy, obviously you know, a bit of a tough race today, but you know, I think you guys should be really proud of the series you had. You fought very hard the whole way through. I guess the question now on everyone's mind is, what's next? What's the plan? Are you going to come back and give it one more crack?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. You know, the first priority now is really to get ashore, thank our teammates, you know, our fans, our families, all our supporters, and then take it from there. Obviously, we need to go have a beer with the Kiwis and really pay respect to those guys. But yeah, first things first, got to go and thank all of our teammates who have really just made such a huge amount of effort for us to allow us to get out here and fight it out in the America's Cup.
Jimmy, thanks for your time. Thanks for being a good sport too.
Thanks very much, guys. Grazie, Italia.
We go back on board Emirates Team New Zealand. Blair Tuke, the flight controller, is standing by and waiting to have a chat. Blair, you've done it again.
Yeah, well, what a beauty. Unreal. Defending the America's Cup on home waters out here on the Hodeke Gulf. Unbelievable.
You're making it look easy, Blair. I got to tell you, for a lot of us, for a lot of sailors in the world who've tried a long time to do this, 2 for 2 at your age, what does this feel like? What does it feel like?
Yeah, unbelievable feeling to know the work that's gone in from so many people over the last 3.5 years, or even right back to before we won it in Bermuda. It's been huge from the team. It's been a massive honour to race here in front of you know, 5 million Kiwis, to know we've had all of their support. Yeah, huge moment just in the last 5 minutes since the since I think you did the interview with Pete. It's just chocker around us now. Yeah, what scenes, unbelievable.
Hey Blair, you know, growing up in New Zealand, I'm sure you dreamed of the America's Cup and you would have watched racing previously. What does it feel like to be defending the America's Cup here in New Zealand? You know, so many people dream of this moment. What are the feelings like?
I think I was about 10 or 11 years old when Team New Zealand first defended the Cup in 2000. I think I was mainly up North Lake, spent one day down here watching. So many of the guys and girls behind me in the team have similar memories. So to have the opportunity to sail and race for Team New Zealand and to defend it is, yeah, it's a huge honour, and just the way we put the campaign together with a tight battle. Luna Rossa really came out firing and took it to us, but we slowly built into the series and got better and better every race, and today was just a great race for us and really showed the speed of the boat, and we sailed nicely, so good way to end it.
A final thought, Blair, at what point today in race number 10 did you know you had it?
When we crossed the finish line. It's sailing, you never really know till the end, but we were really happy to get a good start. We won the right-hand side of the racetrack, and we executed the start we wanted, which was good. We didn't always do that the last week, and from there we just sailed the boat speed we had, and never really gave them a chance. So really, really solid way for us to win it, and yeah, time to enjoy it. It's been a heck of an effort from so many people in our team, and all the supporters around us, sponsors and everything like that. So time to enjoy it.
Well done, Blair. Go party.
Enjoy it.
Good. Thank you very much. Yoo-hoo!
Blair Duke, flight control. I was waiting for the woohoo. There you go. Race 10 of the 36th America's Cup match. And it is over. Emirates Team New Zealand with a 46-second win and a 7-3 scoreline. They keep the America's Cup. Just confirmation, there it is, there's the scorecard. Race 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, and Emirates Team New Zealand win the America's Cup.
Well, this started in the pre-start, and we heard both teams talk about wanting to get the right-hand side, or the right-hand side of our screen. Well, guess what? Jimmy Spittle tried his hardest to coax Peter Burling into going back early. He didn't fall for it. He waited patiently up on the right-hand side of our screen. He wanted the right side of the court. He didn't mind starting in tight on the hip of the Italians. Technically, that hasn't been a good position, but the right side was so dominant on this first leg that, hey, it worked. And the first cross, we had to wait 2 or 3 minutes here before we got to the first cross, but the first cross went to the Kiwis, and from there on, well, it got tight. Actually, Luna Rossa really kept this thing a lot closer than some may have expected, Nathan. Right around kind of the first, let's call it the first third of the race.
Exactly. Team New Zealand executed the start strategy they wanted, and then they went hammering off to the right-hand side of the course here, but Freddie Carr in the helicopter picked that there was going to be a left increase, and Luna Rossa closed the gap up. Emirates Team New Zealand couldn't tack on them that time, but this time Emirates Team New Zealand go out to the left-hand side of the course where there's a little bit better wind. Luna Rossa go over to the right, and they have a small advantage at the top. This is actually now at the bottom gate. Luna Rossa for the first time had gained downwind, but by jibing here and keeping the boat nice and slow, the gas coming off, Emirates Team New Zealand made it tough for Prada. And Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli here struggle to get around that bottom mark. You can see here, both boards down, foil arms in the water, all that sprays, drag, main sheets on as hard as it can.
Traveler position.
They were struggling now, hanging by the edge of their teeth there to try and stay on the foil. And from that moment on was when we saw this gap just grow and grow, and Team New Zealand show the boat speed that we all know they've had. They've been hiding it a lot, but they didn't let it hide at all in this last race. They just stretched out to a monster of a lead.
Coming in for the position that all sailors want to be, and that is finishing the America's Cup on top, winning the final race of the America's Cup, and the emotion that showed was fantastic. Even for Kiwis showing emotion, I mean that with all due respect.
They cross the line, the pressure valve is released, and then they get an armada of spectator fleets to take them home. And it's only going to get bigger when they hit the viaduct. Emirates Team New Zealand are on their way home to a reception and a trophy presentation that's going to go on long into the evening here on March the 17th, 2021 in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. But that does tell a beautiful story. The spectator fleet and both boats are coming in. you know what? You sometimes wonder what's going through the head of these guys. 4 years all over.
First things first is get through that armada on the way in. You could walk back to Auckland if you're these guys right now. They're going to pop that boat up on a plane and get back home and celebrate on St. Patrick's Day in Auckland.
On board Emirates Team New Zealand, another key member of this afterguard, Glenn Ashby, joins us right now. Describe what you're seeing out there right now and describe the feeling of once again winning the Cup, Glenn.
Yeah, look, it's a pretty surreal feeling. We're just taking off, going upwind now to do a bit of a flyby on the way home. But it's, yeah, look, it's absolutely incredible, to be honest. And it's just a feeling of sort of immense relief, to be fair. But yeah, struggling to hear much at the moment while we're going here. But a wonderful day for the whole team, and just very proud of the whole group. To be honest, it's been a busy few years since Bermuda, and just absolutely stoked for the shore crew, the design team, the engineering team, the whole wider team. Had fantastic support, and just very proud to be part of such a wonderful organisation. To be fair.
Hey, Glenn, hopefully you can hear us. We can hear you perfectly, by the way. Hey, I think this is your third Cup win, right? Just kind of rank, tell us how different each of them are and how this one ranks.
Yeah, sorry, I just missed a lot. Just stand by a sec. Hey guys, I just can't hear a thing. Go again, sorry.
Glenn, this is Kenny. Hey, congratulations, first of all. Hopefully you can hear us. We can hear you perfectly, by the way. Rank your Cup wins. I think this is your third one, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's you know, obviously the boat's been pretty good the whole time. So you know, for us it was, I think at the end of the day, just a matter of yeah, pressing on the woolies and just sailing our boat's mode. And you know, absolutely hats off to Rossa, Prada Pirelli, and the boys there, the whole team. You know, they've obviously done a stellar job with their campaign, and to have the racing with those guys has been absolutely wonderful and just immense fun. So. Yeah, a big thanks to them for being fantastic competitors, and really hope we can do better with those guys in the future. But yeah, very pleased for ourselves, obviously.
A professional answer from someone who didn't hear any of the question.
Cheers, guys. I can't hear a thing. I'm going to have to sign off.
Exactly.
Do that, mate. Do that, mate.
Nice work, Glenn. As you said, a professional answer for someone who didn't hear the question. Just thinks, oh, he might have said this, and I'm going to explain how good the racing was.
You think he wanted to get out of here? Yes, you do. He wanted to get out. Here are the numbers from the winning match.
Dominant race. Really one of the better races we've seen by the Kiwi team. They got better as the event went along. When you're 2 knots faster, both upwind and downwind, you can always sail a little bit more distance. They didn't even sail that much more distance, Nathan. That is just a absolute dominant performance.
They were just ripping, weren't they? It's going so fast. It's impressive.
So here is the key moment. We know what it is.
Jimmy Spithill did this turn as slowly as he could. He's just right now, he's saying, please cut in front of me, please try to jump me. And Peter Burling did not fall for it. He actually did a last-minute turn and almost went out of bounds here, but pulled off a great move. Really close to going out of bounds. A great move because they wanted the right-hand side so much that they were willing to come in late and start on the hip. Nathan, that was incredibly patient. That just shows that essentially they had a plan well before the start, and Peter Burling pulled it off.
It's interesting. Both teams had the same plan, and so that was always going to be a tough one. Who was going to win out here? And what I like the most about this is he kept it away. He gapped off, and then at the right moment, he pushed. If he pushes any later, Luna Rossa are going to be on time, and they win the win and New Zealand gets shut out. But he pushes, he does a few wiggles. You can hear Pete and Blair talking a little bit about time to kill. Basically just gives himself enough space to sneak into windward and roll straight into attack, and really couldn't have gone better for them this time. And I'm sure he really wanted to answer a lot of critics who were saying he wasn't getting off the line well enough. He has the faster boat. Let's get off the line evenly and let's see what this boat can do. And there you go, roll straight into the tack. executes the plan he wants to execute.
As soon as they started, Stephen, I heard Blair Tuke essentially say, perfect. That's exactly what they wanted to do. And to pull off exactly what you want to do while ripping around at 40 knots, not the easiest thing on the planet.
We asked the question, when did you know you'd won the race? He said when you cross the finish line, but in this class of racing and what we've talked about for the last 3 months, one would suspect they had a good feeling right there.
It was incredible how the Luna Rossa team, though, kept it close for about a third of the race. It really wasn't until gate number 2 that this kind of became a bit over. They kept coming back, keep coming back. And yeah, it was that gate 2 mistake for the Italians that really kind of cashed it in for them.
Stand by. 3, 2, 1. A little softer out of this.
And this is the moment they crossed the line and won the 36th America's Cup. Shoulder taps, high fives, the whole 9 yards, all that work, all those hours, thousands upon thousands of hours, development, training. Boat 1, Boat 2, Triumphal, which carried them to glory, and those people there that have been on their backs all the way. And many of those people have been there a long, long time today, waiting for this one moment, and they'll still be there when it comes to the trophy presentation in the America's Cup Village. The mum champagne moment. Sometimes I think that's the one they look forward to most.
It's always a good sign.
So Stephen Tyndall in the middle of all that, a huge supporter of Emirates Team New Zealand. Blair Tuke, how happy are they? It must be an amazing feeling as they get towed in at speed. And there is Luna Rossa, valiant in defeat. And they have been a cracking challenger.
All the people piled up on the shoreline to get a glimpse of this action coming in here. This is going to be a really kind of an emotional moment for this team, as it always is. Look at the crowds that are starting to build up, and that's nothing, folks. When you get yourself actually right into the viaduct, the amount of people down here tonight is going to be absolutely phenomenal. For the awards ceremony up on the main stage, the Viaduct Harbor may not have ever seen anything like tonight.
We understand the awards ceremony will be around 6:45 local. That's 6:45 local New Zealand time. And there is Emirates Team New Zealand being towed in. They had to dodge their way through the flotilla of these spectators, but they have been coming out and waiting for a result. Today they got the result that they wanted. 2000 they won, couldn't do it in 2003, then had to wait till 2017 to win in Bermuda. And then they brought it on home to the waters of the Waitemata Harbour and completed the job today. 7-3 the final score. The defender wins the America's Cup against Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, who continue to fight to win this beautiful trophy, the oldest international sporting trophy.
Interesting that Francesco Bruni said he thinks Mr. Bertelli will be back. So there's your first inkling of what the future is. Now the games begin as to where, when, how, who will be back for the next America's Cup.
And the other question, of course, is who will be the challenger of record? That's the other one that we have to wait and see. Lots of murmurings going around the viaduct at the moment, but we're none the wiser. And I think we'll know that probably in the next 7 or 8 days as to what actually unfolds.
There is a fair chance that some sort of challenger of record letter notice has been already handed across. It's actually a fascinating part of the America's Cup, Stephen.
So let's talk it through. I mean, you know, the challenge has to come from, quote, any organised yacht club of a foreign country having its annual regatta and, I love this, an ocean water course on the sea or an arm of the sea. So that opens it up a little bit.
People have tried to pull a fast one in the past, and you know, This is not always taken care of on the water, guys, as we know. The America's Cup has been decided, or at least the path towards the America's Cup has been decided in the courts before. So this is always a kind of an interesting, nervous time in the Cup's history. Where is the next Cup going to be? Are they going to use these boats? This is for the defender to decide, by the way. The defender, one of the interesting parts of the America's Cup is the defender makes the rules, and that will never change.
Well, you'd have to think if you've defended the America's Cup in a certain class of boat, the chances of you winning once again, you keep the same boats because you have that small advantage. And let's be honest, New Zealand loves sailing. They'd be brave to take it away from Auckland City. They have to hold it. Here, look at all the fans that have come out to watch the sailing. How could you not defend the America's Cup in New Zealand waters?
But I could jump in here and use a line that Kenny has often used about this is a billionaire's sport, right? And there are other parts of the world that might be more appealing when it comes to sponsorship and things like that for teams to be involved. And so I just wonder if it's a bit of a balancing act going forward for Emirates Team New Zealand as to what direction they take. The late Sir Peter Blake said it's a game where winning is almost impossible. Well, almost, but not impossible. That's why it's worth fighting for. That must be going through their heads right now to keep the fight going.
Think of this team going back through that fleet right now. How proud they should be.
Well, that's why I asked Peter Burling, what's better, winning in Bermuda on the other side of the world or winning in front of the entire nation where everyone on one of those boats is there to cheer them on and to support them, and you just must feel like a rock star right now.
Let's go under the water with Shirley. Shirley, you're coming through that sea of spectator craft. Talk us through it, will you?
You're taking our shot right behind the boat. It's incredible. There's more boats inside the harbour now. This is amazing sight. I think everyone in Auckland who has a boat has come out to escort this machine and this incredible team back in. And I just wanted to add something really about the Italians as well. You know, every day I see them in the morning, I interview them, and then I see them later on in the day. And they've been a credit to their nation, could not have fought harder. And they always knew they were really up against an incredible Kiwi team that we all thought was faster. And, you know, if you are a Kiwi fan watching at home, if you are an Italian fan watching at home, you should get off your sofa and applaud them. I mean, what a campaign that Luna Rossa team have had, and they've been a real credit to deal with. But we are in for an amazing party, I can tell you. There's about 3,000 boats heading towards the viaduct, and the feeling out here, whoa, it's right up there.
Let's go up high to Heli 1. Freddie Carr still hanging around. And Freddie, from what you see, what does it look like from your view, high up?
Yeah, from high up, the viaduct is absolutely packed. I came and got involved with the America's Cup and saw the first America's Cup for me in 2000, and I was in an umpire rib following New Zealand as they defended the Cup in 2000, and it blew my mind. And I'm back there again today. The amount of people in the viaduct, and you can see the traffic coming into town. I don't think there's a single Uber available for rent. As Shirley said, there's 3,000 boats coming in. There is going to be a hell of a shindig tonight on St. Patrick's night.
There you can see Chase Boat 1 up to the top left there with the big catamaran coming in following Emirates Team New Zealand, who are acknowledging some very relieved New Zealand fans that have been out for the last 2 days waiting for something to happen. There is the viaduct. That is the compound of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, bottom left of your screen. And that is the America's Cup Village at the top of your screen. One would think as the hours progress, that is going to be almost an immovable place to try and walk through. But Mother Nature has smiled on the 7th day of racing in the America's Cup match. Beautiful weather. There was suggestion we wouldn't get any racing, but we got racing. Let's get some more post-race reaction. Our very own Matt Sheehan is with Francesco Bruni.
Francesco, commiserations. Really, really tough. How are you feeling?
Well, obviously, it's hard, but I'm very proud with the team. It's been a fantastic campaign. We were close. We learned so much. I really wish that to have another chance. I really wish to have another chance. But I'm very proud with what happened. I'm very proud with how the team has been working. And I need to thank everybody. Thank you to the guys that were on the shore. Thank you to the guys that were supporting us. It's all about the support. You do nothing by yourself. It's a team job, and we demonstrate that we were a great team.
And yesterday must have really raised the hopes and the spirit of the team as well. You sailed so well yesterday.
Yeah, I think we sailed well the whole week. We did few mistakes, but we were against a very strong team, a very strong boat. So it was tough. We knew that was going to be tough, and we gave everything. We squeezed every centimeter of our boat, but was not enough. Congratulations to Team New Zealand.
What's been the hardest part of it? It's been a long campaign, I know, but what's been the toughest bit?
Well, the hardest part, there was no hard part really. Obviously losing is never fun, but I think the spirit of the team was the best thing. It's been a great campaign,
You've given us a fantastic match, you've scored some points, well done. Commiserations, well done.
Thank you.
Francesco Bruni talked to our very own Matt Sheehan, the New Zealand flag across the inner harbour as Emirates Team New Zealand come into dock on the tow and get ready to be greeted by thousands of crazy fans, because they will be crazy tonight. And it is a huge day for Tamaki Makaurau Auckland. I bet you they just can't wait to get off the boat. But I suppose in many ways there's still work to do. You've got to get the boat out of the water. There's certain things that still have to happen, right?
Well, it's one of the things that is actually a bummer about these boats, Nathan, is in the good old days when you went over the line, there was immediate reaction and cheering and yelling right away. But with these boats, you actually have to settle the boat down, or you're still going to kill yourself if you don't do it quite right. You saw a guy still grinding for the next 30 seconds.
I did notice that when they crossed the line. Glennie Ashby jumps out of his cockpit, has to go to the back of the boat to tell the guys it's okay, you can stop grinding now, because normally they're just trained to grind until the boat was stopped. But you're right, the boats, they don't sail themselves, you know, and normally, you know, in cups gone by, I guess in the version 5 cup boats, the keel boats, there would be hundreds of people on the boat for the tow in. But if you did that, you would damage these boats. They're so light and fragile. You can't fill them full of the kids and all the family members like, you know, was in the past. You know, my wife's been involved in the America's Cup for a long time, and I've seen photos of her on Team New Zealand boat with the trophy next to Russell Coates. That's the level of family commitment that used to be involved. And not saying it's not there anymore, but on this type of boat, you got to be there, you got to have your helmet on, you got to have your life jackets on for all this sort of stuff. It's a different game these days. There you go, there's the families getting on board now, all the kids
how great is
loving to get on the boat there. Jimmy Spittle's kids there, you can see them walking around the boat.
Familia, a big thing for the Italians. Very important. And as we saw in the last few dockouts, Jimmy, Francesco, Max bringing their children down into the dockout before they headed off to have another go. God, I love passion. I love passion.
I think we saw all those kids in our crowd shots all the time. These kids get on air a lot. We never get on air for all the right reasons.
For all the right reasons.
Glad you held me back.
Here they come now. Listen to the crowd.
The boats and their hooters will go off like wildfire, coming around the edge, the big Hilton Hotel there. That's that white building on the corner of the edge of the dock there. And look at that. Not a spot to be had on the docks of Auckland City in 2021. March 17. Remember the date. The date that Emirates Team New Zealand successfully won the 36th America's Cup for the second time on their home waters. And I don't think that can be underestimated. We always talk about, you know, in sport, the home ground advantage, but oh, yeah, this is the lap of honor. Let's be blunt.
A little bit of passion in this country for your sports teams.
We bat above our weight. Listen to the crowd.
Goodness gracious.
When you watch the crowd start to move as the boat moves around into the viaduct, everyone there is going to start to come around, and it's going to be only standing room pretty soon.
You know what comes next after this, don't you, in this country? There'll be a parade somewhere. This is just the start of the victory lap. You can see in the foreground there's our chase boat one. Shirley Robinson will be bounding off that and getting ready to do interviews very soon from Emirates Team New Zealand, which we will bring to you. If you're around the world, we're about to take a wee break, but there's so much more to come. So stay with us. That picture there tells the story. It's all we wanted on race day 7, wind. And early on in the piece, it wasn't playing ball. We finally got going at 4:45 p.m. local time for race number 10.
Big credit to Ian Murray, by the way, in some really tough conditions, pulling this off. It would have been easy to run some bad races out there. He had the patience. He did the right thing. Full credit to their whole staff for running some great races and coming up with a true America's Cup champion.
Yeah, you're right, Kenny. It would have been pretty tempting to just run that race yesterday in that dying, shifting breeze, but you know, Ian held his nerve and said, no, this is not worthy of an America's Cup race. Let's just postpone, bring it tomorrow. And we had a fantastic race today, didn't we?
Heck, the spectators aren't making it easy for Te Reo Tai to get through to home base, are they? They're having a bit of a dodge and a weave, and whoever's driving the chase boat's doing a pretty fine job.
The scariest behind the wheel moment of the day is the person on the chase boat right now for Team New Zealand.
Another dry rub. Well, you can see Peter Burling there standing on the deck. He's not touching the wheel. Someone else can help get this boat in now. Someone else can hold the wheel because the chase boat effectively gets him in from here. But man, look at all the boats out there. And the longer it takes for them to get in, the more boats are going to slowly grow, and it's going to get even harder.
Oh, chase boat one got to be very careful. Got intersected by a boat just pulling in front.
I've been on that catamaran quite a few times. It's not very maneuverable at slow speeds, let's put it that way. At high speed, it's a great boat, but dodging all these little boats would be a challenge for the drivers on that boat at the moment. But we wouldn't have great shots like this if they weren't right behind them.
So now they're just edging their way towards home base. Emirates Team New Zealand. You can see the crowds just surrounding the America's Cup, but wanting a glimpse of their heroes who have made sure that the America's Cup stays in New Zealand for how much longer we don't know, because that's the other question. What sort of cup cycle are we going to head into now?
Those are the questions that will be decided. I think they're coming in on the other side of their base from where they usually come in. So this is actually a little different angle. They usually come around the left-hand side of this dock right here, and they're coming in the right-hand side.
Coming into the base near Ineos and American Magic,
near
right near our. We should maybe just duck our head out the corner. Maybe they're coming to say hello to us.
Stephen, you're on your own. We're going to go out and watch these guys come in.
Yeah, you do that. Fine, boys. You've worked so hard over the last 3 months. You deserve a break.
Look at the crowd moving. They were all expecting them to go in the normal way near Rossa and park up at their base, but the crowd is on the move.
Well, maybe this is part of the victory lap. They're going to go in here, then back out and around. I think that might be part of the plan.
Whatever they're doing, they're keeping us all on our toes, aren't they?
moments that this team, not just the sailors, this team will never, ever forget.
The America's Cup is such a hard trophy to win. So if you win it once, fantastic. Win it twice, even better. For some of these, it'll be a first-time win. For some, it'll be a magnificent time. But then on the flip side, not winning must haunt them. Must haunt some sailors not winning it. The one trophy that, as we've said before, that sits above like the Holy Grail. You just can't get
You're
it.
talking to two people right now who have been in that position, so we know exactly what you're talking about. This kid to the right of me, though, he's gonna win this. He's gonna win this regatta.
What, Outeridge?
I'm betting on Outeridge. You're putting a team together right now. Call me. I'm in charge of his contract.
Wow.
Putting it out there. Let's go.
Sounds good to me.
But Nathan, it's probably an appropriate time when you see moments like this. You've done a couple of campaigns, right? How much when you see scenes like this, you just want to jump out of that commentary position, find a boat and go sailing, saying, yep, that's me. Someone employ me. I want to do the America's Cup. Come on, come on.
Well, I think anyone who's into sailing and anyone who's competitive would love to be a part of one of these teams. You know, the America's Cup, it's bigger than a sailing competition. It's this design race. It's a big team effort, and you know, to be able to be in New Zealand, you know, defending it in front of your home country, it's a patriotic moment for these guys as well.
When did you first get bitten by the bug?
Of sailing or the America's Cup?
The America's Cup.
So, you know, my background was always in smaller boats and dinghies and things that went fast, and obviously watched all the America's Cups. Australia won the America's Cup before I was born. You know, in 1983 they were born. I was born in 1986, so it was a bit before my time, but everyone knows about the America's Cup all around the world. And in sailing, it's just something that you always strive to do. When I got bitten by the bug was when the boat started going quick. So in the lead up to the San Francisco America's Cup, when they had the AC-45s on the World Tour, that was my first opportunity to get involved. I came from a foiling background in foiling moths, little 12-foot boats that do, you know, 30 knots of boat speed. And as soon as the Cup boat started going fast, I got a tap on the shoulder to say, could I come and join one of the programs? It was a small team at the time. It was called Team Korea. It was sort of a launch pad for me, which then got me into Artemis racing, and I found myself very quickly driving one of those AC-72s in San Francisco, which was incredible. Kind of like these boats, first generation of a new design, the wing sails and the catamarans that were incredibly fast and really powerful. And I think once you get the bug for the America's Cup, it sticks with you. It's, as I said, it's a sailing race, but it's a design competition. It's a big people game. It's having those big teams and balancing it all. And no, I haven't been involved at all in this cycle, but it's something that's really addictive.
Well, let's pause for a moment. We'll come back and get Kenny's thoughts on when the bug got to him in the world of the America's Cup. But let's go and hear from Jimmy Spittle now.
Jimmy, commiserations. I mean, it was a hard fight right the way to the end. Tell us how you're feeling.
Yeah, obviously pretty disappointed. I mean, I felt like we could have won a few more races against the Kiwis, but to be quite honest, at times it felt like we were taking a knife to a gunfight. I mean, they did an incredible job, developed a credible tool and package there, and all you can do is really tip your hat and just really say well done to them. Champion team, and thoroughly deserved champions.
And it was such a great race yesterday. You must have raised your own expectations, let alone those of everybody else.
Yeah, it was a great race yesterday. I mean, look, that really, I think, showed the, you know, sort of the character and the spirit inside the team. They just refused to give up, you know, the guys on board and everyone ashore. And so, yeah, look, every day we believed we could win races, and we were just trying to take it one at a time. But at the end of the day, the better team won, and yeah, full credit to them.
What would you say is the biggest strength of this team?
I think they've just got such a passion inside the team, and you know, I think coming into the team, well, let's face it, as a bit of an outsider, you know, as really one of the few non-Italians, to be living in Sardinia and just understanding the culture and just how passionate and emotional and really family orientated they are. And yeah, it's just been such an amazing experience for me. I look back at my career, and this will be definitely one of the most memorable ones. I mean, just the way they embraced me and allowed me into their culture has been very, very enjoyable. And yeah, the Italians are such amazing people. So yeah, it really has been an honour to be able to represent them and be on the boat and go into battle for them.
And it's been an amazing boat, an amazing class with some incredible racing. You've done a lot of campaigns. Are you up for another one?
Yeah, look, I love the fight. You know, I love competing, and that's my 4th cup final in a row, and I'm 2 wins, 2 losses, so I can't leave it there. I've just got to tip it the right way. But yeah, I think the boat's really sort of exceeded expectations for everyone. Course C, I think, was definitely the highlight. I wish we could have raced more on Course C. That's the only regret. But yeah, what a very, very, very proud of the team, and definitely going to make an effort to thank everyone involved.
Well, once again, commiserations, but you put on a fantastic show. Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
Thanks, Matt.
4th cup win, should I say 4th cup match in a row with a 50% record as the Italian flag flies high as Emirates Team New Zealand come back closer to their own home base. Kenny, when did the bug bite you?
That was a victory lap we just witnessed, and they're coming around to their normal parking spot. For me, as far as I can remember. Remember, the America's Cup was in Newport. I grew up right up the bay. My parents had a little 30-footer, and we used to go out and watch Intrepid and Gretel and all these famous boats, Courageous, and all battle it out in Rhode Island Sound. So once it gets you, and it gets you for life. And here we are, so many years later, still completely wrapped up in the America's Cup. You can't leave it. Once the bug bites, it's over.
You came from what they might consider the slow days of America's Cup racing, but now we're into these flying boats.
I like to call them tactical days of America's Cup. How's that?
By all means, I stand in your shadow. But you've embraced this. That was always the one thing that I was impressed when I asked you about what did you make of these boats, and you went, yeah, boy, let's go.
Yeah, it's you can't stop evolution, revolution in anything. Cars, trains, boats, planes, whatever the case may be. The world moves on, and let's just watch the pure love of the Kiwis for this team just pour out onto the boat. I'm so happy for these guys. Turn into their little basin here. The Italians on the left side. We'll see if they go and tip their hat to the Italians on the way through to their base. I feel like I'm calling the Macy's Day Parade.
We had magnificent commentary coming off the boats throughout the whole America's Cup series. We can now let the crowd tell the story. They can commentate them through until they get to their base, because noise and cheering says it all.
Just great shots. Soak it in. Stop working for a minute. You don't have to coil that line.
He's just getting ready to throw it, isn't he, so they can tie the boat up. But that's the habits of sailors you just can't get rid of. There's always a job to be done, and people are always thinking about what they need to do.
spent in the gym. All talk about the afterguard. That's the power. That's the power that gets the boat around the course.
Emirates Team New Zealand will now bring Triumphal around, and then they'll back this boat into the dock, and we've got Shirley Robertson ready and waiting to bring you more action and more reaction from this win in the America's Cup. There'll be lots of little children out there that tomorrow will be saying, "Hey, Mum, hey, Dad."
Yeah. Good for them.
I quite like this sailing idea.
Say, Mom, Dad, let's buy a boat.
What kind of boat would you be buying your kids if you're a Kiwi right now and you've got a kid about 10 years old? What would you be buying?
Something with a foil on it. How's that?
Yeah, a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Tell you one thing, Nathan's young boys, Jack and Charlie, they'll have ball boards already sorted out.
Oh, as soon as my wife lets me take them foiling, they're coming with me. My son Jack said to me yesterday, he's like, "Daddy, can we go foiling tomorrow?" I said, "Sorry, mate, I've got to go to work and talk about someone else going foiling, but whenever this event's over, I'll take you, buddy. Don't you worry about that."
Shore crew over 100 have to get this boat prepped every day. It's still one of the most fascinating parts of this America's Cup. They bring the boat in and then they de-rig it. The crane lifts it up. Off comes the D section, the mast, and they go through the boat over and over again. I mean, we're seeing the finished product, we're seeing the good bits, but there is so much that goes on behind the scenes every day.
Don't forget to mention those people up on the gangplank there, the families who live through at times the torturous life of people who work this hard. It's that simple. The families are in it just as much as the sailors are. The emotion, they come home with it, they leave in the morning with it. It's just so difficult sometimes for the families, so credit where credit is due. The families, the shore crew, these guys all know, they all know, without the support of everyone in their lives, they're not even close to where they are today.
But what an adventure for young parents and sailors with young families to have the opportunity to take them around the world and experience a different country. Your own children educated here in New Zealand a long, long time ago, and now they're all growing up and telling Dad where to go and what to do, and Dad's still traveling around the world sailing. How good's that?
Doesn't get any better.
Yeah, they say America's Cup teams are big families, and can definitely say that it's a very important thing. You know, look at the guys here, they're so excited to see every single person. You know, they treat each other in these teams as equals. You know, whether you're a sailor, whether you're a designer, whether you're grinding carbon, sanding the foils, whatever your job is, everyone is important to get these results. And let's not forget the families. You see Glenn Ashby there, he's an Aussie, but he's effectively been living here for 11 years. His girls go to school just up the road. You know, they go to school in Takapuna, and you know, he says when he goes back to Australia, you know, Australia is his home, but he spent most of his professional sailing life living in this country, representing this team.
Not such a bad thing.
Not such a bad thing at all.
The celebrations continue. All right, time to get more reaction. Shirley, all yours.
Stephen, we're just with a react. the crowds. What was that like when you came through the viaduct?
That's absolutely unbelievable. I don't think words can really describe, the feeling of, just immense relief and satisfaction and joy. Just seeing everybody just absolutely stoked. It's been a massive, massive effort over the last few years to get to this point, not only from a sailing side, but from an event side and a management side. And I think, to see the amount of people out there today was just, it made it all feel real and like, wow, you've actually been able to achieve something as a group, and absolutely stoked for the wider team and for New Zealand. It's, you sort of think about it 4 years ago. You look at what the brochure could look like, and that's how it's ended up. So absolutely stoked. Yeah, wrapped.
The last time you won the Cup was a tiny island in the Atlantic. Here in New Zealand, in Auckland, with 5 million people behind you. I mean, describe this moment.
Yeah, look, it's I think it's a feeling that I was saying to a couple of boys on board the boat, like, you can't explain it. You could never imagine it, and you've just got to feel it. And just to have that feeling now is something super special in your life. This is something you'll always be able to remember.
Fortress, no one has got in. To see everybody here now, what does that mean to share that moment with them? Just quickly.
Look, to look up at your kids, your wife, the rest of your teammates, it's absolutely incredible. And I think the passion that the wider team shares, we are one, and it's just really looking forward to tonight, sharing with the rest of the team, and super stoked for New Zealand to be able to retain the cup. It was a great defence.
It was great to watch. Enjoy the celebrations. Congratulations. Kevin Shoebridge, COO, still working, still on the phone.
Just trying to make sure we do the next bit right.
What does this moment mean, not just to the sailors, but to the entire team? How special is this to win here at home?
It's amazing. It's amazing to be at home to win, but it's amazing to have, created this class and all the trials and tribulations that went with that over the last couple of years. Fantastic. So happy.
Give us a bit of an indication of how hard it has been, what kind of challenge it has been to win this cup.
Well, there's been a lot going on, obviously, in the world in the last year and a half, which hasn't helped, but particularly tough regatta with the Italian team who sailed very, very well, very good campaign. So it's been pretty tense the last 9 or 10 days, but, great that we had our straps in the end.
I said this morning when we headed out, it felt like history might be made today. How accurate is that? What does it mean to the wider country?
Oh, well, as you can see by the amount of people that have come down today on a Wednesday, it's huge. And there hasn't been a lot of sport on in the last year, so this is going to be great. Great for the city, great for the country.
Congratulations, well done. Enjoy it all.
Shirley Robertson in the thick of it for us, getting a reaction from the victorious America's Cup team, and there is Captain Fantastic.
Captain Fantastic, that's what Steve McIver has called you, Pete. Just describe this moment and how it feels.
It's absolutely unbelievable. It's always tricky in these events. You never know when they're going to finish, but to get it done today, and then I think we went up to the top of the course and just slowly came through all the boats and all the people that have been supporting us. It's been an absolutely amazing few weeks of sailing. I think we've had support and messages from so many people in this country, right from the PM to school kids, home yacht clubs. I think everyone's been really getting behind us, which has been unbelievable.
I'm going to bring in Blair. Come and join us, Blair. I mean, maybe both of you, a word about how hard this has been. I mean, it's felt like a tough old event to win.
Yeah, it certainly has been. I mean, the last week's only been the end of it. It's been a heck of a campaign for us. So much work from everyone in the team. But yeah, Luna Rossa sure put up a heck of a fight. They came out firing, and we had to improve, and really proud to have done that over the last week to build into the series nicely and finish it off with that beauty race at the end.
And to share this moment together, to add to the collection of cup wins and gold medals, how special is that to share this as a unit?
I think it's incredibly special, and it's just not many opportunities to race events like this on home waters. It's just been unbelievable, the support, all the horns going, the people getting down to cheer us on, and we're just blown away by the amount of people got behind the event. Obviously the Italians sailed incredibly well. they put up one hell of a fight, and we felt like we really had to work hard for it. So that was something that makes the win all the more pleasing.
Blair, what would you like to say to New Zealand? I mean, they're all watching, I'm sure, right now about this moment.
Just a huge, huge thank you to everyone in New Zealand, not just the ones that are here or got out in the Hauraki Golf to watch, but we've felt the support from right at the top to the bottom. So thank you very much. It's meant a lot to everyone in the team, and it's for us to have the honour to race for New Zealand and defend the America's Cup here is huge, and we couldn't be prouder today.
What happens now? How big is this Kiwi party going to get?
You have to think pretty big. I mean, yeah, it's a heck of a lot of work by a lot of people in this team, so everyone's going to enjoy it for sure. And I mean, the scenes around here in Auckland have been pretty crazy over the last few days, so I think it's just going to go to another level today.
It's been a privilege watching you. Congratulations. Enjoy the celebrations. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you very much.
Key members of the afterguard, Blair Tuke, Peter Burling. We've already spoken to Glenn Ashby as well. We're going to try and bring in the boss, Grant Dalton, shortly before the presentation, because the presentation is due to start, we believe, at around 6:45. That's 6:45 local time here in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. And there you can see it right there. And there's Norman, the guy on the right. That's you can see that's Norman, and he goes everywhere. You don't mess with him, right?
I tried to touch the cup once.
You tried to touch the cup once?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't do that, right?
Yeah, I went to the hospital and they reset my finger for me. No
yeah, fair enough. And look, he wears white gloves. You can see behind him, he wears white gloves. Because... so we're just waiting for Grant Dalton to join us, because he's not too far away. This will be a big moment. Another cup win for the boss. And he'll be one relieved man, because I'm sure at about 3-all he was a little bit nervous about how strong this Italian challenge was, Nathan.
Yeah, I'm sure all the team were a little bit nervous when it was 3-all, but, you know, all it takes is just you get that one break, you get a bit of confidence, and everyone relaxes a little bit. And there's nothing worse, I would imagine, than being a team boss or a coach or anyone in the team that's not on the boat, because you have no control over what happens once that race begins. You can do and say whatever you want until that moment, but once the race starts...
Former Prime Minister there, just the right over Helen Clark. There was the Speaker of the House there, Mr. Trevor Mallard, who I can confirm has been a volunteer all through this campaign. How good must that feel? Done the job.
At a young age, these guys are just starting. That's the scary part. Nathan, that's the scary part to the sailing world right now.
Sure is. These guys both turned 30 during this last campaign. You know, it's pretty young to be doing all of this. And you know, normally with America's Cup, the older you get, the more experience you get, the better you're going to become. So every cup that goes under their belt, every gold medal these guys win, they just keep getting better and better. And it's getting harder and harder to beat them.
You sort of feel like the adrenaline has sort of starting to dissipate somewhat, and now they're sort of getting into a little more we've done it mode, relax mode, but we've still got to receive the most important trophy.
But they get it. You watch the young guys here, and a lot of times you're not sure if they understand the heritage and the history and the hard work, but they're shaking hands with every single person on that team and thanking them. So they get it.
That's Simon van Veldhoven, who was just talking to Peter Burling, one of the grinders, a former Olympic keirin rider. Got thighs the size of a cow. Huge. And he was one of the original cyclists as well. No wonder they got him. And let's go to the boss, Shirley.
I've got the boss, Grant Dalton. I mean, a massive sense of relief, I'm sure. What does today mean to you?
Well, I'm sort of only just really letting the race go, you know, because we needed to get the right. We knew the right was strong, and the guys put a pretty much their best race together, I thought. You know, just loose covered and took off. So, you know, you got to let that go and then go, wow, we actually got there. And as we came in and, you know, just the people, I mean, it's really a big deal here. And I know we're just really proud. I mean, Bermuda was, you know, obviously a watershed and amazing for us, but because we're at home, it's just so much better.
It was only when you came in that we really got a sense of how many people are part of this team, Grant. Just talk to me a little bit about them, all the cogs that have made this victory possible.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because on the chase boat where we looked in at all the black shirts on the dock here, someone said, God, there must be a lot of people on night shift, because there was just, yeah, we're like, wow, we do have a lot of people. But, I mean, they're all cliches a little bit, but, you know, the Yachties at the end are just the kind of arrowhead of the designers who created a very fast boat. It's a complicated boat, our one, and that meant the shore crew and the engineers had to put together and maintain a very complicated boat. And then the Yachties, once they worked it all out, delivered. And, you know, it was pretty much, in that respect, a flawless campaign.
We have seen the shed lights on every night. Give us a sense of the work rate to make that happen.
Well, I mean, look, it's an America's Cup campaign, so that's normal. And we run a 24-hour, sort of round-the-clock 7 days since before Christmas, because everybody knew that was going to happen. So, I mean, there's not a campaign here that was in this America's Cup or any America's Cup that doesn't do that. And I'd just say, also, just the Warriors that will enter Rossa. I mean, to be fair, they caught us a little bit by surprise, or certainly me. And it took us a while to get on top of it and kind of understand their boat and what we had to do to race it. But they sailed really well, and they can be, you know, I mean, it's, again, it sounds like a cliche, but I think they can be incredibly proud. That's the best that Italy's ever done, and by a lot.
We heard through the grapevine in the middle of the week that you were a little bit cross with the team. You know, how worried were you that this day might not come?
Oh, you're always worried the whole time. I mean, that's normal, and I guess that's my job to worry, and it's them not to worry about it. But, I mean, they're true professionals. They don't fluster. I mean, it's seen in the fact that probably our best start was today, because we wanted the right so bad, so we hit the line at 32 knots and took it. So, I mean, the guys are professionals, and as I say, my job is to worry for them a little bit, but they delivered on the day.
This is a big moment for the team and for New Zealand, but what about for Grant Dalton to defend the Cup here at home? What does this mean?
Well, I think you got to say, for me and Kevin Shoebridge and, you know, the guys that have been with me for so long, I mean, it is a big moment, but it's a relief too that you know, we got it done, and it came the way we wanted it to come, with, you know, what I think is are amazing boats, with Auckland, be it that COVID came along. Unfortunately, we didn't have more stadium racing just because the sou'westerly didn't come. But, you know, I wouldn't say it's a crowning moment. As I say, it's a relief. Bermuda was a milestone. You know, winning round the world races is that sort of feeling as well. But I think it'll sink in as the days go by. But, you know, it's back to work pretty quickly, I'd imagine.
And just lastly, I mean, the sailing world is watching this, Grant. What's next? What does the future look like?
Oh, I think I'm not going to, you know, worry about that now. You wouldn't expect me to answer that either. You know, let the moment go for the guys, and tomorrow's another day.
Enjoy the trophy lift. I'm sure it'll sink in a bit more then. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Grant Dalton, the Papa Bear of Emirates Team New Zealand. Yes, good on Shirley Robertson for having a crack at saying, what's next? We still are waiting for that. Who will be the challenger of record? There are murmurings around the viaduct already of who that might be, but there will be no confirmation for a number of days. That's the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. That is where the America's Cup has been for well over 3 years. And if you go inside, you'll find that it has sit in a pretty impressive trophy case as well. Got to go up the stairs, of course. Aaron Young is the Commodore of the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. And remember, it is a race between yacht clubs, not countries. So when the letter of challenge is received, it'll be the Commodore of the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron that will sign the letter. And there it is. Crafted actually in 1848 and won in 1851 by the schooner America, of which it became named after. And of course, the Americans held that for 132 years. But now, for the 4th time in 26 years, the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron is home to the America's Cup, which is now at Tuero, which is the little island they have created in the America's Cup village. And soon, Peter Burling and co will raise that trophy above their heads. And the rest of the country will go crazy, and so they should. on the flip side, let's go back to the man that has always wanted to win the America's Cup with an all-Italian team. Just about all-Italian in 2021, but just couldn't get it done this time round.
Max, commiserations. It's not how you wanted this campaign to end. How are you feeling?
Well, no one here likes to lose, no? So obviously I'm not happy, but at the end is sport. I mean, these guys, they beat us. They've been, they had a fast boat, which is help. And they did a great job because they built a team in the last 3 years, a winning team. And but at the same time, I'm proud of the team we put together. It was a brand new team. We start from scratch, and obviously it's not an happy moment for me, but at the same time, I mean, it wasn't that easy to come to the final and win races in the final America's Cup. So, I mean, good job to them. We're going to come back stronger.
I mean, on the other, I mean, I get all of that, but you have been architects of this rule as well, co-architects of it with Team New Zealand right at the early stage. You must be proud of what you've created, because it's been a spectacular boat and some spectacular racing.
Yeah, I think for sure for our sport, it's been probably one of the best America's Cup I've been involved with. These boats are amazing. I really hope they're going to stay. We're going to keep sailing with this boat in the future. And we are just at the beginning of this era, so I'm pretty sure the next America's Cup with this boat, with the evolution of the class, with the learning, no? Because every day when we were out racing, we were learning a new thing of this boat. So the future, it looks promising. Let's hope we're going to keep going with this class, with this boat, and I'm sure Team New Zealand, the new challenger record, they're going to hopefully put together a great event for the future.
I remember bumping into you a few years ago, quite a way back, but it was early in this cycle, and I got the sense that this was sort of one cup that you were going to do, and then maybe that was it, but you seem up for another one to me.
Well, I think Mr. Bertelli wants to keep going. Obviously, let's see what's going to happen in the next few weeks. I think it's really important to understand what is going to be the future of the Cup. But for what I know, the team wants to be back, and which is great. It's great for Italy, it's great for our sport, it's great for all the people involved in this team, and I'm really looking forward to see Luna Rossa back in the water soon.
So commiserations, but well done for a good show.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Max Sirena, who many thought could have been the X factor for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, the sort of like the fox in the henhouse, having been amongst the Team New Zealand culture in Bermuda and back in 2017. You could sense the pain he felt. It was not to be today for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. It was for Emirates Team New Zealand. Let's go racing, everybody.
Is this going to be a match race or is this going to be a drag race?
Bad jibe there from Emirates Team New Zealand. They're a sitting duck right now.
And there's a lousy, lousy jibe.
Emirates Team New Zealand dumping just before the bottom gate.
Oh, the rudder, let's go. Look at the white water coming off the rudder.
The margins are quite small in these boats.
Oh, you heard the call. They were very close to that marker. They had to pull out.
Wow, one bad tack by the Americans.
Emirates Team New Zealand cross the line and win the World Series against Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
Everyone is pushing it quite hard. It's amazing to see how many Kiwis got out there to watch it. It seemed like the whole course was surrounded by boats.
So the world gets its first taste of AC 75 racing. So here we go, the match, race one. The first to 7 race wins will hold the old mug aloft.
Yeah, for us as the defender, it's been a little while since we've been out racing, so it was amazing to get out there.
This is the moment that every America's Cup cycle waits for anxiously, that first lineup.
Big advantage to Emirates Team New Zealand already in this race.
My first inclination here is this is not a runaway train for the Kiwis right now.
I think one thing today did show that if you get behind at the start, it's pretty hard to get past.
And Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender, get first points in the opening race of the match for the 36th America's Cup.
got a lot to go back and learn. You know, it's obviously been the first time we've raced for 3 months, so we're definitely chipping off a little bit of rust, but you know, really happy with how we checked in.
Rossa, Prada Pirelli against Emirates Team New Zealand. Emirates Team New Zealand being left in the wake of Rossa in race 3. Nobody in New Zealand saw this coming.
Everybody in Italy saw this coming.
Emirates Team New Zealand crossed the line to complete race 3, but they don't get the point.
Yeah, we obviously don't like to lose the first race of a day, but it doesn't really affect, you know, how you go into the second one.
There's 5 million people sailing that boat.
Emirates Team New Zealand look at this point on track to level it up.
Yeah, well, I think it's always nice to get wins on the board.
Scorecard now, Emirates Team New Zealand 2, Rossa 2.
All the way down this boundary. Yeah, looks good.
There is nothing in this match. It's 2-all. It's the first to 7. Pick this one at your peril.
There are some high expectations for this team here in their home waters.
That deficit's going to be a healthy one in favour of Rossa Prada Pirelli.
You know, it's no secret in that lighter air, these boats dig a pretty big hole in the wind, so it's, you know, definitely hard to keep the game close.
That boat behind is actually hanging in there pretty good in a tough spot.
One little pressure out of this.
Emirates Team New Zealand come across and now go into a thinking mode. How do we go and win race number 6?
No secret in match racing that, you know, it really helps to get off the line, and you know, I think both races today, the race had almost been decided by the pre-start.
Emirates Team New Zealand, they are a team now under some serious pressure. This edition of the match is turning into a classic. Right now, it's anyone's cup.
We still don't know who the quicker boat is here yet, right?
What we've got is a really close yacht race. It's definitely shaping up to be a pretty interesting series.
Not since 1983 has there been a 3-3 scoreline.
Just when Emirates Team New Zealand needed to execute a good start, they've done the job. They need the win to stay in the match. Emirates Team New Zealand came in trailing by 1. They have produced what you might call a Super Saturday performance when it mattered.
Obviously, everything comes down to some pretty small margins. These boats are going very fast.
This is not a runaway train for the Kiwis right now. That Kiwi boat is ripping upwind. It is going really fast.
We really needed a mistake from the Rossa guys.
Keep it out of the water, boys. This lead could evaporate very quickly.
We didn't really think it was going to happen.
After being way down, Emirates Team New Zealand lead Rossa Prada Pirelli.
Well, we never give up. You always just got to play what's in front of you and do the best you can.
Emirates Team New Zealand have come from behind and are the first team to win 2 races in a single day.
To turn that around like we did was massive for the team.
Finally, one team has a clean advantage. They lead 5-3.
You know, we know we've got to win a last race to win the America's Cup, and that's what we're here to do.
Look at that, the viaduct outside Emirates Team New Zealand headquarters, and everybody lining up to see the victorious team make their way to the stage to receive the America's Cup for the 4th time in the history. And Kenny, we talk about history because I know you love history. You come from a club that has, well, let's say is the America's Cup. 4 times, 26 years. That's a hell of an effort.
Especially when you think about this country and where it is and how few people they have. I mean, here we go. Here come the heroes coming out of the tunnel, so to speak, and soak it in, boys.
How must that feel? They're going to have to go over the bridge that separates their headquarters to the stage.
You notice how the whole team has ID tags except for Tuke and Burling. I think that's because people know who they are. Do you think that might be the case?
Not a bad spot, Kenny. Not a bad spot at all.
Waiting for the team to gather. They'll walk across the bridge and go around to the right, smack into the Cup Village and onto that stage. Emirates Team New Zealand being led across the bridge by Mana Whenua, the local iwi, Ngati Whatua Orake.
just a beautiful example of how big Emirates Team New Zealand is when the whole team and the shore crew come across the bridge to the presentation stage. So we are just waiting for the official part of this America's Cup presentation to get underway. They have officially been welcomed by the local iwi, the local Maori tribe here, Ngati Whātua Ōrake.
Kia ora, greetings and welcome to the closing ceremony and medal presentation for the 36th America's Cup presented by Prada. An America's Cup like no other, with foiling monohulls for the first time, and the introduction of a new era in sailing with these incredible, spectacular America's Cup 75. The America's Cup, the pinnacle of yachting and international sport's oldest prize, goes back 170 years to 1851. It's my pleasure now to welcome Bruno Troublé, my co-host, three-time skipper in the America's Cup, creator of the Challenger Series, and Bruno, together, we've enjoyed many, many America's Cups, and I know his time in New Zealand. Yeah. So Bruno, why is the America's Cup so much more than a sailing event and a sporting event?
It's a legend of modern times, with so many people who spend their life, their money, their big effort for many, many people over the last 170 years. So it's a big event. It's not only a sporting event. Prime Minister, so what a lovely day to celebrate, huh? Extraordinary. So your team of 5 million managed to beat back the COVID, the pandemic. The same team of 5 million just won the America's Cup. And all the world is watching. All the world is watching you. So, was an achievement against 3 strong teams from America, from Great Britain, and last but not least, from Italy. We'll first invite the world sailing team of Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, to come on stage. Luna Rossa! Because please come on stage. Because to have an historical winner, we need to have the best possible runner-up. And Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli has always been a threat to New Zealand. The boat is lovely, she is fast, and it took some time for the holders of the cup, the defender, to finally find solutions to prevail. Please, a round of applause again for our friend of Luna Rossa. Where is Max? Max? Where is Max? So what do you want to say to your friend in New Zealand first?
Well, first of all, it's fantastic to see. Obviously, there is too many black shirts, but you guys deserve that. Well done. And New Zealand is a kind of a second home for me and for the team. It's been a pleasure to fight against this guy. And well done, New Zealand. Bravi.
Your country is suffering at the moment. You brought a lot of joy to your friends in Italy.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people, I guess we can say millions of people in Italy, they're following us in the last few weeks. I don't think no one was putting money on us on arriving to this level on the first campaign. Yeah, Luna Rossa is there for more than 20 years, but we start from scratch this time, and with a bunch of young people and some veterans. And I'm obviously proud to be involved with this group and the trust they give me. And I would like to thank Mr. Bertelli to put everything together. I mean, without him, it wasn't possible. I would like to thank New Zealand. This country is amazing. We are so lucky to be here and to be the only place where something like that could happen. Nice job to keep this happen, and nice job to all of you guys. It was amazing to see so many boats watching a race. And thanks again. It will be in my heart forever.
And this is the best Italian team in the history of the America's Cup. Well done. Thank you.
This edition has been an enthralling tight tent series on the waters of the Hauriki Gulf and the Waitemata Harbour here in Auckland, New Zealand. The best against the best. Emirates Team New Zealand, the representative team of the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, have become the first team, and the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, the first yacht club, to successfully challenge and defend the America's Cup twice. Emirates...
So I will invite on stage Francesco Longanesi, who is representing Mr. Bertelli, the chairman of the Prada Group. So, Mr. Longanesi, and also Aaron Young, the Commodore of the Royal Yacht Squadron. Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, Aaron. And they will present a medal to each of the team members of ETNZ.
Please, would you now welcome to the stage the sailors from Emirates Team New Zealand, Andy Maloney, Blair Chuk, Carlo Heisman, Finn Henry, Glenn Ashby, Guy Endine, Joe Sullivan, Josh Jr., Lucas Sinclair, Marcus Hansen, Marius van der Poel, Mike Lee, Peter Burling, Ray Davies, Richard Meacham, Simon van Veldhoven, Steve Ferguson. Would you also now please welcome to the stage the directors of Team New Zealand and America's Cup event, Matteo De Nora, Stephen Tyndall, Tina Simons, Greg Horton, Bob Field, Grant Dalton, and Kevin Shoebridge. When I said before, Team New Zealand has become the first most successful team in 170 years of the America's Cup to successfully challenge and defend the America's Cup twice. So let me remind you, San Diego 95, the America's Cup is now New Zealand's Cup. Auckland 2000, the America's Cup is still New Zealand's Cup. Bermuda 2017, once again, the America's Cup is New Zealand's Cup. And in March 2021 in Auckland, the America's Cup remains New Zealand's Cup. Peter, just hold up. One more time, the America's Cup altogether remains New Zealand's Cup. Can I now welcome on stage the rest of the team, the brilliant unsung heroes of Team New Zealand, the boat builders, the designers, so we can celebrate with you all. Ladies and gentlemen, Grant Dalton, can you believe a sea of faces that go forever, the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hours of your team putting in this, and you got this joyous occasion. Congratulations.
Thanks, PJ, and thank you to everybody for coming out and supporting us. It's been difficult for everybody, the team, all New Zealand, and you know we couldn't be more proud what we've brought to you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Kevin Showbridge, our director and the chief operating officer, the thousands of hours. It's fantastic, isn't it? Look at the sea of people. This is who you've been representing, Kevin Showbridge.
No, amazing. So happy. You know, amazing 10 days for us, and to see all the crowd and all the boats out there today, it was amazing. Beautiful.
Wonderful. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of the night. This is a special, special day.
Smiles all around on the stage at America's Cup Village, March 17, 2021. The 36th America's Cup has been won by the defender, Emirates Team New Zealand. How sweet the taste must be. But this is a campaign that began all the way back in December of 2020. Let's go racing, everybody.
My rake, my drop.
Emirates Team New Zealand approaching the top gate for the first time, and they are flying.
You could see that tack was not going to be a good one before it even started.
Emirates Team New Zealand coming to the finish at the end of race 1 of the America's Cup World Series, and they do it in style.
When we pictured this race course all those years ago, and you know what it could look like with all the boats around, it's just amazing to see it actually as a reality.
American Magic approaching the top gate for the first time. Ineos, Team UK.
Oh boy, here's a problem. Something mechanical.
So the rudder just sort of lost grip in the middle of that turn.
American Magic crossing the line, and it's a strong performance from Patriot. Strong arm tactics by Jimmy Spittle and Francesco Bruni. Protest said no penalty, Italy. Wow,
amazing.
You can see here, they're running out of pressure. They really need to get this jar before they go out of bounds.
Change force coming in.
Okay, they're out. So something's happened again with Ineos.
We can't tack it. So you've got this yacht. So
3, 2, 1, away you go. Stopping up.
They got it. They got the inside overlap, and they're not going to. They have no reason to bear off until they want to. Wow!
Moment of holding your breath for American Magic. You heard Denbach say, over, over.
It tips the boat over. It's lifting all the time.
Here comes Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. Huge result for them.
No lower, no lower, no lower. No.
Oh! You heard the call. They were very close to that marker. They had to pull out. How? Wow!
And there's a lousy jive.
Emirates Team New Zealand dumping just before the bottom gate. And oh, yes! Put your hands up to your face. Why wouldn't you?
Penalty.
He's trying to get the offset right now. He's trying to offset his penalties.
He might have just done it.
Oh, splash down by Ineos Team UK. Splash down.
Better there, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
I heard Ben say that.
It's painful, isn't it, watching Ineos? I mean, something's just not right.
Emirates Team New Zealand cross the line and win the World Series against Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli.
Everyone is pushing it quite hard.
So the world gets its first taste of AC 75 racing.
Start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's on. Prada Cup, race 1. If anyone thought Ineos was going to have trouble, think again. It truly is game on in the Prada Cup.
It's just going to get better and better. They're going to get richer and richer.
They're struggling a little bit getting around these marks, though. Looks like something might be really wrong this time.
Ineos Team UK have the perfect start to the Challenger Series.
Something has drastically changed under the water.
What a race. This is not what we were expecting about 20 minutes ago. I think we're going to be very stop-start down this run.
Luna Rossa get their first point on the board and beat American Magic.
They have made huge changes on this boat that was working in the light wind just as well as the medium breeze. It's super impressive to watch as a sports fan.
Goodness gracious me. Ineos Team UK win race 1, round robin 2 of the Prada Cup.
Nice work, boys.
Huge wind shift.
Off the foils, this is about to get turned on its head, this race, once again.
Transom 2-1 now. In left here, guys. Actually, fast pressure this way. Coming on us now.
Looks easy now. Take her home.
For Ineos Team UK, they go 4-0 in the Prada Cup Challenger Series.
Oh, there. Looks like he tacked early.
And they were
Little squall here.
Whoa, hang on. Trouble at the mill. American Magic. My
and
goodness.
They are over.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli will get their second win. Ineos Team UK heading towards the finish line in race 2 of round robin number 3 and cross the line. Luna Rossa is away. It's down and the clock has started on Prada Cup semi-final race 1. Whoa, and again. My goodness, Shirley, is this the same spot? No, my runner. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli heading towards the finish line in race 4. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli have just guaranteed themselves a spot in the Prada Cup final. It's done. Prada Cup Finals Race 1 2021, and the battle for the right to challenge Emirates Team New Zealand for the old mug starts now, and it's Luna Rossa. Ineos Team UK, they finally get to the bottom gate for the last time.
They're comfortable and thinking, okay, let's start thinking about race 2.
And here they go, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. They are simply honking that boat. They are going. Here's a small moment that will make the team on Ineos Team UK feel so much better. For the first time in this Prada Cup series, they head through the top gate, leading Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. Ineos Team UK are heading towards the finish line, and they will bag their first win in this final.
Okay, turning up there.
Whoa!
Okay, come to the line.
Game on, race 8.
Hang on, boys.
Here we go. It's a done deal. Luna Rossa will make the match and be the official challenger for the America's Cup and take on Emirates Team New Zealand. So here we go. The match, race 1. The first to 7 race wins will hold the old mug aloft.
Yeah, for us as the defender, it's been a little while since we've been out racing, so it was amazing to get out there.
And this is the moment that every America's Cup cycle waits for anxiously, that first lineup.
We flag this, Keko. Protest.
Big advantage to Emirates Team New Zealand already in this race.
My first inclination here is this is not a runaway train for the Kiwis right now.
In conditions when Team New Zealand should have destroyed us, they didn't.
And Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender, get first points in the opening race of the match for the 36th America's Cup. And it's Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, the official challenger of record, leading Emirates Team New Zealand.
We still don't know who the quicker boat is here yet.
We regrouped, composed, went out and won the next race. So that's a good sign of strength for the team.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli against Emirates Team New Zealand.
It's pretty obvious that the boats are very similar in performance.
Emirates Team New Zealand being left in the wake of Luna Rossa in race 3.
Yeah, we obviously don't like to lose the first race of a day, but it doesn't really affect how you go into the second one.
Emirates Team New Zealand look at this point on track to level it up. Scorecard now, Emirates Team New Zealand 2, Luna Rossa 2.
We proved that if we can win the America's Cup, I think.
but that boat behind is actually hanging in there pretty good in a tough spot.
One little pressure out of this.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli will cross the line and go 3-2 up in the match. Emirates Team New Zealand, they are a team now under some serious pressure. Just when Emirates Team New Zealand needed to execute a good start, they've done the job. They need the win to stay in the match. It is now 3-all between Emirates Team New Zealand and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
Big mistake number one in this series. Big mistake. This has turned into a full-blown disaster for this boat.
Emirates Team New Zealand have come from behind and are the first team to win 2 races in a single day. They lead 5-3.
I think we go all the way. Go all the way, boys.
Going to sail them off the course. They have every right to sail them off the course right now.
And this is really a battle on the water today.
Jimmy Spithill at his best.
Emirates Team New Zealand are 1 step closer to winning the America's Cup.
A very wise man and a good friend of mine said once, imagine what a story would be if they lose from here.
So that was Emirates Team New Zealand winning on the water, and then they got towed back in amongst a, sounds a bit crazy, but a sea of boats and spectator craft that have been out there all day. Some magnificent shots from Heli 1. And the reception that they received was rapturous. The crowd did the commentary for us. The flag flies proudly above the Emirates Team New Zealand base. And then they came on in. The adrenaline just starting to eke away, and the feelings of celebration just feeling too good. And it was back for what's deserved most, a good hug and the celebration and drinking that mum champagne out of the old mug. And that thing has been going on and on and on. I'm sure the Royal Jewellers of Garage didn't actually imagine what was going to go on in 2021 when that first was crafted in 1848, but heck, why not? Make the most of it, Kenny.
Passion, support, expertise, guts. That's what makes a team like this. This is what makes really a Kiwi. When it comes to sailing, the team, the country, even for the sport itself, this is just a great sight, a great view. All this hard work pays off. It's really it's a story for all of us to learn from. And I'm just pleased for our sport, for the sport of sailing. I'm proud of this TV broadcast, by the way, for showing the world what sailing can be like. It's really something else. It's fun to watch and fun to be a part of.
It's certainly been one heck of a journey for everybody involved in the America's Cup. All the teams, the likes of Ineos Team UK, the likes of American Magic, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. But this is the one thing that has really, Nathan, resonated. It's about family.
It is about family. These America's Cup teams are big families in themselves. You can see they're all the kids of the team members that don't see much of their parents, don't see much of their dads when they go sailing, don't see much of their mums. Anyone who works for these teams works long hours. And, you know, I've been involved in cup teams before, and I didn't have kids then. I don't know how guys who have kids who can
Next
leave
time,
home.
buddy, young Jack and Charlie, we might be watching Dad do that.
You can only hope so, can't you? You can only hope so.
Because that was the moment to celebrate as Emirates Team New Zealand won their 4th America's Cup in 26 years.
The guy spraying that bottle is the guy who's not always in the limelight, but Glenn Ashby, I still maintain, is one of the is the glue of this program. That is one smart dude. That is a guy who's in a way, Nathan, you can say has revolutionized the sport in his own way, in his own small way, what he's done in just multi-hulls, then into foiling, and now into these big boats. Wherever Glenn Ashby seems to go, good things follow.
Yeah, Ken, you're absolutely right. He was part of the coaching team for Oracle when they won in the... He was part of the coaching team when they were in the America's Cup in the D to GIF, and then he went straight to Team New Zealand, and he's been at the front ever since then.
So just confirmation of this 36th edition of the America's Cup match. Emirates Team New Zealand at one stage, it sat at 3-all. And then, as Kenny once said in commentary, the afterburners were put on by Emirates Team New Zealand, and they did sail away to a 7-3 victory in the match and retain, but they like to say won and win the America's Cup. And the celebrations have only just begun. This viaduct has been a buzz, an absolute buzz, since this town and country came back to what we call level 1 and normal. And the biggest moments, just the biggest moments.
One of the great customs of winning a trophy in general is just passing it around, seeing all your teammates share the glory, have that every one of these photos sitting on somebody's desk or somebody's wall back at home to remind them of these great days.
And this is how it was won. We had 3 challenges for the America's Cup: Ineos Team UK, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, and USA. And they went through to the Prada Cup semi-final. Luna Rossa against American Magic, then became Luna Rossa against Ineos Team UK. And then they quite rightly earned the chance to have a crack at the defenders, but they weren't good enough. This team, Emirates Team New Zealand, too strong, too good, emphatic in the end with a 7-3 victory. So we are done with the 36th edition of the America's Cup. Kenny Reid, Nathan Outteridge, Shirley Robertson, all our experts flying high. A magnificent team that you never see. Executive producer Stephen Nutt and Leon Sefton. Months and months of work, hundreds of people to bring you some of the best sport you will ever see on the planet. Until next time, America's Cup is New Zealand's Cup.
Today's America's Cup Racing is brought to you by Medallion.